and yet we're actually late for the rounds, technically half an hour late, which is quite good. Did you have enough time to get something to eat, Lisa?
To get some rest or
to get some rest, get something to eat, maybe go out for a walk? What did you?
walk? Wow, can't imagine it. I was like kind of a bit tired this morning because I usually don't get up so like early. So I just kind of after lunch I just sleep. I just couldn't sleep because I think the tournament is kind of very exciting. The games I was like thinking about games, some of the games.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I've been sometimes I don't get to sleep because I'm thinking about my own games, let alone somebody else's games. God.
Yeah, me the same. You know what? Sometimes it can happen like I can't calculate clearly in my game I played, but when I was sleeping, I suddenly thought about the game and suddenly thought about all the moves and I suddenly saw all the moves clearly. I was like, oh, how come I didn't come up with the moves like when I was playing? And I just feel pity all the time, and it can influence my mood for a long time.
Yeah, I guess this happens to quite a lot of chess players though as well, because I mean, you think about all the chess that's going on with the World Cup going on at the moment. There's also a Glawny Gilbert Cup going on, which is Wales, England, Ireland, Scotland, playing in the junior level. There's just so much chess going on right now, let alone our own tournaments. And probably every chess player, I should imagine, suffers from kind of like you just wake up at like 2 a.m. and think, I should have played that move, or why didn't I do that move? You know, what's going on there? And yeah, it can be, and it's also quite warm at night as well, isn't it? So it's not always easy to sleep when it's so warm.
Yeah.
But okay, I guess this is the problems that as chess players who think too much actually have with our games. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, let's just recap what happened in round two, just so people know. So actually not many draws at all in the top boards at all. The only draw was with Adam Ashton against Black against Ran Song. And Adam probably a bit disappointed that he didn't win that one. But Mike Surtees did win. We did leave that game still going, and we thought he would do, as did Russell James as well. That was the ending where he was winning pawns against Damien McCarthy. So he keeps in the hunt as well. And then if we click on the round three pairings so just to recap, it's the Manchester Summer Congress, the Harry Lamb Memorial Open. Harry Lamb sadly passed away back in May. Did a lot for chess around Manchester and especially Bolton as well. So on the top board, we've got Bogdan Lalic against Ethan Norris. I've not heard of Ethan Norris before. Do you know Ethan Norris, Lisa? No?
Not really.
No, I would have thought that I probably heard of more of these and seeing it's on my way. Mike Surtees versus Edward Jackson. That could be a really interesting game.
Yeah.
And then rounding up the people on 2 out of 2 is Sean Gordon against the young Rishi Vijayakumar. So really interesting matchups here. And in fact, apart from the top board where we'd probably say Bogdan was the heavy favourite to win, boards 2 and 3, they really could go either way. I mean, Edward and Rishi, I know that they're both youngsters. Rishi's, I think, significantly younger. But, you know, those two games there, if you're on board 2 or 3 at the moment, you're thinking, hang on a minute, they could easily get a win there and then be 3 out of 3 going into the next day. It could be really quite exciting. And you don't want to drop any points, do you? Because lurking just behind here, we've got Keith Arkle, 1.5 points, Paul Macklin, 2300 FM, Adam Ashton, 2300 FM, all on 1.5 points, and probably expected to win. And well, that's an interesting pairing here. We've got Keaton Patel, who's rated 1579, playing against Adam Ashton, 2300. That's and a 1789 playing against a 2300 as well. And Tashika as well. Do you know much about Tashika? Have you played Tashika at all, or
not really? Because I've never heard of her. Like because we got lots of women's events, but probably I don't follow the young female players a lot. But I know Nina Per, right, and Prince player. Another one is Julia Wolwich. Actually. And I think, and also another one called Abigail
Wearsing.
Yeah. And that's all the players I've heard of from like young female players because they all played in the British Championship. I mean the championship. But for those in the major, it's a major event. But I just didn't know them. I just didn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you don't spend too much time looking down and just focus on your own chess is probably a good idea. Well, she's up against it here. She's black against Keith Arkle. So we'll be definitely having a look at these games with
Yeah.
anticipation. It's going to be yeah. I mean the matchup there. I mean Adam versus Keaton. The rating difference there is nearly was it 750 points, something like that. Difference in rating, which is a crazy amount for an open event. So I don't know anything about Keaton Patel, whether he's a junior or anything, but 1579. And how did he do? Looks like he won his first game against the 1900 and drew against the 1900 Robert Newton, who I know Robert. I've played against him, so maybe worth a lot more than his 1500 rating. And there's they talk about rating deflation, don't they? Lisa, have you heard of this?
Yeah, kind of, but I have no idea how the deflation actually works because, I mean, for young players, if they get a lot of ratings in the same token, they can lose a lot of ratings. So I don't think there's kind of deflation. So
yeah, I think it's more us older people that have kind of suffered from it. So like maybe, like for example, 20 years ago, I was still 2200. But now I'm 2200, but I see myself as a far better player now than what I was 20 years ago.
I feel the same, but the good thing is I gained a bit more rating back because I used to be 2340 something, but then I dropped to 2240 something, and recently I gained the points back, so I kind of returned to 23.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's very hard to stay on 23 because if I'm 2300, then people want to just offer draw, want to play for draw. I mean, for 22 and 3 players, so it's hard to win. But I mean, the benefit of being 2200 is that when you're playing against 2300, they think that you're weak, but actually you're not, and they want to win, so which gives you a chance. So I think for lots of games after recently, I just win back points like that.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I know that FIDE are trying to inject some points into the system at the lower end, and we'll see if it plays out in the next 6 months to a year or so, and possibly pushes people's ratings up. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, actually, they have the new rules already about the norm, right? So because now you have to get like norm from one open tournament to get, let's say, WIM or WGM norm. So I got quite nervous when I first saw this rule because I only got the WGM norm from a round robin tournament at that time. So I got really nervous. But then,
of course, it would, because
one from open tournament.
Have you got? Did it count as an IM norm as well, or?
Yeah, I would say is that for all the norms? This is what I heard of, like all the norms. Yeah.
Well, I was just wondering at the British, did you get an IM norm as well, or?
No, just WGM norm because I won the last game, then IM norm. But I think like very good, you're like a safe choice. So.
Yeah, of course, yeah, especially with the British Championship, Ladies Championship being on the line. Okay, well, we've got Bogdan Lalic here against Ethan Norris, and Ethan's not holding back here with his opening selection. So I don't know if you played many Benonis in your time, or.
This one,
yeah.
Actually, I studied that as black, and I find it's a bit drawish. I don't know why, but I just play that, and people just play for draw against me, so I feel a bit annoying.
So yeah, there is some drawing lines, isn't there? Where like if you go like H3, Bishop here, Knight
F3, just play as usual, like
castles, Bishop D3, B5, and then there's a whole line with Knight takes here, and then like Knight takes here. Yeah, it's quite a long variation. But he goes for F4, which is I've played this myself as well as white, and Bishop check here. And the point is that he goes Knight FD7, but if he blocks with this Knight, there's a whole big line here with E5. And then I can't remember if they take first and then go Knight H5, but the idea is that you allow E6, but you get Queen H4 checking. And it gets quite fun, actually. But every single Benoni player I've played against goes this Knight back and doesn't allow it. And I think Bishop E2 is just a slight error. I think White's meant to play A4 here. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm not going to say it's an error because Bogdan Lalic has played it. So I'm taking that back straight away. It's not an error. He's just chosen a different variation.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that A4 is more normal here because then you don't get A6, B5 with tempo. But maybe he knows something that I don't. Bishop E2 here. Different way of playing. Because normally black inserts this check and then comes back to E7.
Yeah.
It chooses not to and just keeps it simple. And A4 got played anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the point is that if you play a4 first, when a6 gets played, you kind of have a choice of where to put your bishop. And if you played rook e1 in time, then obviously bishop f1 is even slightly better, I think.
Makes sense, yeah.
But okay, knight f6, and then, wow, he's not used much time here at all, has he, Bogdan?
Not really.
e5, I am steaming through this center, and I am coming for you, is what he's saying. They look very impressive, don't they?
Yeah.
Look impressive. Knight g4. And obviously this pawn is currently got 3 attackers and only 1 defender.
Mm-hmm.
But Bogdan did not care and went bishop g5. So this is getting pretty crazy already.
Yeah.
Because now after queen b6, we have this pawn being on pre, this pawn being on pre, a discovered check to think about.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a lot going on here. And Bogdan just very calmly plays a5. And here Ethan must be having a think going, is there something I don't know about? What is going on?
So where do you think the queen should go? Like, should the queen take the pawn?
I'm thinking of either taking the pawn on b2 or even going back to a7. Because it depends how dangerous this c4 check actually is.
Well, I'm thinking about queen a7, then knight a4, then knight b6.
Yeah, if queen a7, knight a4, c4 check.
And then knight b6.
Oh, knight b6 straight away to block it, of course. Okay, yeah, that will rule out queen a7 then, if we can block it that way. Because you don't really want to play knight d7, do you? Something like e6 or something, and also the knight on g4 is then loose.
Yeah.
A bit awkward. So yeah, I think he's kind of got to take this pawn on b2 then. I'm guessing knight a4 still. Unless queen b4. Queen b4 might run into rook a4.
Yeah.
Although it might be okay to run into that. Maybe queen b4, queen a4.
Really? Wow.
Because you can take back with the knight, and knight b6 might be potentially winning a piece. Though maybe not.
Let's say, what if just knight 4, then queen b4, knight b6, rook a7, rook a4? Then I think not. Is it winning a piece? Like the queen has to go to b2, right? And then knight takes c8.
Okay, so hang on. Start from the beginning. So queen
b2.
Queen b2, yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Queen b2, knight a4. Do we have any choice?
Not really.
No. Knight b6.
b6. Then rook a4.
And you're winning this.
Yeah.
And you take this. Yeah, it did look very loose, didn't it? So is there any way out of that? I'm also thinking here is, the queen's got this e4 square, hasn't it, to go to? So bishop d2 is not working.
Yeah.
So you can't take the pawn then.
So queen b4.
Queen b4. Still feels a little bit like it's theory, you know. The problem with this move is what happens if we just plump for e6 now?
Yeah.
And then the rook a4 idea is coming back.
But what if rook a4, then queen b2, then I'm gonna take your knight?
Okay, so knight on c3 is unguarded.
So let's say if I take this e6 pawn with this f7 pawn.
And this doesn't work, does it?
Then taking the pawn, the knight.
Yeah, I think white can do it better, can't he?
Yeah.
Maybe not e6 straight away. What happens next? So could you do a sneaky move here? Like bishop c1.
Wow. Yeah, this is very interesting. So probably bishop d7 just to prevent rook a4.
Yeah, rook a4 is trapping the queen in. I'm just a bit worried about this pawn, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in lots of lines, white is giving up this pawn anyway and just doesn't care. So I don't know if it makes that much difference. But it's definitely interesting. I mean, maybe there's even like a d5 move here. I think. Sorry, d6, and then knight d5 coming in.
Yeah, this looks good. Yeah, this is interesting.
So you win an exchange, but you might lose some pawns.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very crazy anyway, whatever happens. And I think black is almost forced to go into this, isn't he? You can't go back to c7, can't go back to a7. Knight a4 was just too strong against queen a7.
Yeah.
So it looks... although, hang on a minute. Oh, yeah, because knight b6 is just winning the rook, isn't it? So you can cost you the e5 pawn. Yeah, so I think for some reason I feel like this is still kind of theory or a well-known trap, actually. I think I've seen something like this before. I won't be surprised if I click on the book as there's something here. And there is a game here, but it's not...
100% win for...
Well, it's only one game, so it doesn't matter. So, yeah, I'm not surprised it's been seen before, but Bogdan's had a little think and thought, do you know what, this is pretty good for me. I'm going to play that. And Ethan might be thinking for a good 20 minutes, half an hour here to see whether he wants to take this. Although we think queen b4 is just forced, don't we? So queen takes b2 is looking like it's the wrong direction completely. So, okay, well, let's have a look at the next game. Let's move on to Mike Surtees versus Edward Jackson. Oh,
I see strange things happen, like e4, c6, knight, e2.
Yeah, well, I told you, this is Mike Surtees, and he plays some interesting openings. If you ever have the pleasure of playing Mike, you will not forget it, because, well, usually he does stuff like this, and it's quite inventive. And I really like the fact that there's a few people like this that kind of play their own way. And I think it's great that, you know, the game of chess, we've got all this kind of historical thing. You should play this way. You should do this. You should do that. But, you know, there's lots of different styles in chess. And I think our styles are different. You know, you're more aggressive. I'm a bit more, well, maybe not as good, but, you know, it's, you know, people can be positional, strategic, you know, tactical, hackers, you know, but Mike's got his own kind of weird way of developing, and it still works for him to a high level.
Yeah.
And this is his anti-Caro Khan line by the looks of things. H5 and then e6. Feels like this has been reached before, but like
actually, I seem to have seen the similar line. And let's say if knight g3, is it possible for the bishop to retreat to d7?
Yeah, so maybe back to this way, you think? You could almost turn it into a French defense. Because actually this knight here isn't actually any good. I mean, maybe it's quite good that it gets to go to h5, but it's not supporting the pawn on e5, and it won't support the pawn on d4. So here maybe even a better move would be bishop c8.
Oh, but then what if, why do you play bishop f5? What if you just don't go for bishop f5?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe go for c5.
Yeah. Then that's different. Probably c3.
Although maybe his point is that he's going to put his knights like this against the French defense.
Yeah, let's say I'm going to play d4. Oh, d4 is, yeah.
You want to go d4, well, queen a4 check, knight c6 is okay.
Yeah.
I guess this is the critical test, isn't it?
Yeah, I prefer it for black.
Yeah. I quite like c5 here, actually, as a move.
Yeah.
I think that kind of just puts the ball back in white's court, doesn't it? And I'm sure he would have something against this, by the way, that he's prepared his own opening theory. But okay, bishop f5 was played by Edwards, trying to keep it normal. The bishop gets harassed, and then e6 comes in. And queen d6 is an interesting move. If I was looking at this, I'd be saying, hang on a minute, why has queen d6 been played? Why?
So probably knight e7 then castle alone, and now the queen is protecting this e6 pawn.
Yeah. So I guess it's also a little bit of prophylaxis against this move as well. I'm a bit worried about. Yeah. So okay. So he wants to castle queenside because this bishop takes so long to get out.
But e5 is a possible move in the future, so
Yeah. I really would be looking to clamp down on that move. I don't know if he can though. So well, he goes bishop d3, which makes sense. Takes, knight d7, and now it feels like this move is potentially threatened.
Yeah.
So that's why he plays f4. Castles. And then knight h6. Seeing eyeing up this square and this square for the knight. Knight d2. g6, which is... Hang on. Is that giving away a pawn just for an attack?
Yeah, the thing is, I think black's pieces are not activated. So if g6 is played, if queen takes, then rook g8. At least black now is having an open file. And
Yeah, that's something to work with.
Do things like rook g4 or just double rook on g file, and black got more chances.
In fact, he can't even defend this pawn very easily. Knight here. Okay, maybe knight here. Oh, you can't go knight here because rook takes here. So actually, he is winning the pawn back if he wants it, but probably doesn't. Probably just goes bishop here, and then the other rook behind, and that looks pretty good for black, doesn't it? So okay, g6, nice pawn sack, and these kind of critical moves actually are quite important, aren't they, as well? So good to see Edward Jackson playing this kind of way. So he plays knight f3. Mike does. Bishop g7 comes in, which looks sensible. And bishop d2. Knight jumps into f5, and then Mike has just snapped off that knight. Doesn't look like he had much choice there, I think. But has Edward solved all of his opening problems here, or has he still got issues left?
Probably some issues, like for example, e takes f5, knight g5, and something like rook e1, rook e6.
So this fork's coming in anyway.
Yeah.
And the problem is this square here as well is a problem.
Yeah. I'm thinking about whether it's possible to just sacrifice a rook and go for knight f6 and then make the knight on e4, and then the position will be closed, so the rook will not be so useful. So that's an idea. So anywhere, I would say.
Just anywhere. Queen anywhere. Anywhere it can't be taken. And this kind of idea that this knight on e4 is just probably going to be worth a rook, isn't it, long term?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could play this way. It's whether as well, I guess here at this point, he doesn't even have to take the rook, does he? He can maybe try and do the same thing. But yeah, the problem is, though, that this knight coming into e4 is just going to be so good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't even have to jump in so quickly. But then again, if he's
knight e4, if you don't do anything, I just go for knight e4.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this has gone a little bit wrong for Mike because he's played e6 to give away a pawn, and here you allow your opponent to undouble their pawns, and yet what's he actually got for it?
E-file, I would say.
He's got an e-file, but he's only got the e-file because your opponent's a pawn up.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. And you look at the bishops, and dark square bishops are on the board, and all of these pawns are fixed on dark squares. Like for example, this knight, when it jumps into here or here, he's not careful, the bishop can swap itself off for it.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I'm not so sure that Mike would be too happy here in this situation. I mean, is he considering g takes then, do we think?
Oh, really?
I'm a bit surprised. I guess the idea is that this, and let's just say rook e1, he can actually defend the pawn with rook h6.
But do you really need to defend the pawn? I mean,
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I definitely don't like it. Good afternoon, pass pawn. Yeah, he's surely got to take back with the e pawn here, surely. And then we might see something like knight g5 or rook e1 come in, mightn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so how did he kind of lose his advantage here? I felt like when he played e6 and takes, d4 looks right. Maybe here queen f3 might have been. Or is e5 coming this quickly?
Yeah, I think if I can play now.
So e5 is the problem, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how do you stop e5? Or maybe it's the fact that because he swaps off these light square bishops before playing f4,
Mm-hmm.
like this, and this allows g6 to be played, which gets black's pieces out. So maybe if he just does exactly the same thing, but just plays f4 first,
Yeah.
then actually this way it just takes black so long to get this bishop out that
Mm-hmm.
maybe he can justify having this pawn sacrifice, but oh, don't know what's set her off now.
How about still knight 6 and knight f5? Is that wait, knight h6? Wait.
Oh, knight h6 and then knight f5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess the problem is where do we put this piece? Can we go here now? Attack the h5 pawn.
Yeah, probably.
I think I prefer this actually.
Okay, so let's say not. I'm not going to play knight 6, but knight f6, and I'm trying to go for knight e4 in the future.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think maybe here though we can probably just get rid of knight e4 immediately with a knight to a simple square.
Okay, and knight e7. Mm-hmm.
And then I might just play simple chess, shall we say.
Castle Lawn.
Yeah. I guess I put this here.
Yeah, so is there a way to go knight e4 now, or knight g4?
Knight g4, can I take that off?
Yeah, you can take that. So probably not knight g4.
Knight e4, I'm also taking it off, and I'll give you triple pawns, which doesn't look too good. I think the only break that you've got is c5.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you give me time to go something like queen d2, maybe castle queenside myself, and then get the rook on e1, then get the bishops out the way, and then eventually try and pile up on e6, and then it's a long plan, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a very long plan with what's going on. Okay, but he goes this way, and we do have some more moves as we'll whiz through them. I think Edward's played the opening quite well there. So he's taken with the e-pawn, knight g5, knight f6. He's no,
queen f6.
No. Queen f6. Promote that. Queen f6 was played. c3. Okay, so there was a threat here.
Yeah.
And then bishop h6.
But then the knight can't go to f6.
Yeah, but I guess he's just going to swap this bishop off for this knight and then say, well, my knight is better than your bishop.
Really? I thought about that. So let's say if I go for rook e1. Yeah, as they play.
Which is what's been played.
And if swap now, then I take the pawn with the f pawn.
Yeah. We don't want to give you that f4 square for the knight, for the bishop, do we?
So that's why I would say I don't like queen f6 because it just prevents knight f6.
Yeah. Now Mike's just getting a little bit something. He's got a bit of purchase on this now. He's got something to work with, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So this is, that e6 square. I mean, for example, just to stop the invasion, you don't want to do this, do you?
That's ugly. Like I think that's how that would work. Like double rook on e file.
Yeah, rook forward, double up.
Mm-hmm.
And the other line that we're thinking was takes this way, and we thought this bishop was bad a minute ago, but now if it gets this diagonal,
must be better than a knight.
Oh yeah, I mean the knight would have to stay where it was to prevent bishop e5.
Yeah.
Regardless of it winning the exchange, it looks such a that bishop looks like a beautiful piece, doesn't it? And yeah, I don't think he can do that. So maybe Edward's he played the opening, I thought, quite well, but maybe just misjudged this. And bishop h6 he's clearly played because he wants to take the knight. But now probably realizing that he probably can't take the knight just yet.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Although, hang on, is this the game?
Yeah, it's happened in the game.
This has happened, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh. That bishop is going to be a monster when it gets to here. Oh. This diagonal is going to be... Ouch.
Yeah,
Double rooks.
I got an idea. So
okay.
Let's say if queen f7.
Yeah.
And bishop f4, right?
Yeah.
And let's say e5.
Giving the pawn back.
You take with the d pawn, we're going to play knight c5 and kind of put the knight on e6. And then the bishop is kind of blocked. So if you take it with the bishop, then I'm going to take the bishop with the knight. So I'm going to trade you over a good bishop with the knight. And then it will be equal pawn. But then I think black is kind of coming back. Like the pieces are more activated probably. The knight has gone.
Yeah, I think maybe I can do that. And on e5, I would take with the bishop. And then I'd probably just, after knight takes, just take back with the rook.
And rook e8.
And then rook fe1.
Is it possible if I swap all the rooks, like rook takes and rook e8 again?
Yeah, but then I go queen e2.
And let's say king d7.
King d7 is the move.
Yeah.
That's the move that I can't get past. King d7. I'd probably offer you a draw in that line. Yeah, maybe something like that can happen. But I think, though, that I like your idea, realizing immediately that this bishop's just going to be so good. But for a young player to kind of willingly give the pawn back, that must be quite hard to do. And maybe we could even consider after e5, maybe rook takes e5. But maybe that's a little bit too much, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's a bit too much, but at least it looked interesting. Because, yeah, pawn takes knight c5 with the knight coming into e4. That doesn't look right. So you got to do bishop takes. And then if you can get rook d8 and king d7 in and swap all the rooks, then you should be fine in that position. Okay, right. Well, we'll move on to the next game and see what's going on. So these players are all on 2 out of 2. And this is the last board 3. These are on 2 out of 2 as well. So we've got Sean Gordon here against Rishi Vijayakumar. Rishi's been playing very well so far. I guess so is Sean. They both won 2 games. And this was a Caro Khan. How was this a Caro Khan? Looked like a perk. Oh, it's this line.
Oh.
So this is offering a queenless middle game. If black takes an e4, which I've been told they shouldn't. Queen c7. I don't know if queen c7 is the main move, but maybe it is. Takes e5. So this is interesting, isn't it? h6.
Yeah.
And Sean's just, hang on, bishop here. It's just simple stuff, isn't it? And then bishop c4. So I'll put the bishop there straight away. And I like what Rishi's done here with his knight coming back to f8, trying to jump it into these kind of squares in the future. That's quite a nice little maneuver. And here we are, a4. I don't think there's that much to say about this game.
This is actually quite a kind of equal structure, I'll say.
Yeah, I think we need to see a few more exchanges before we kind of give verdict on what's going on now. I think Sean's played it very safe. At least he's got his king castled, but in such a closed center in these kind of structures, the king on the 8 maybe isn't so bad.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe Rishi's just got a problem that he probably would like to castle kingside here, wouldn't he? And so Sean's kind of deliberately not taking on e6.
Yeah.
But it's a case of if you take here, then you bring your opponent's queen forward when they take back,
Mm-hmm.
and then play knight e5, and maybe you can do that. Like if he just takes, and then just goes knight e6 and go, okay, well I can castle kingside next go.
But how about knight 4? Because now the problem is that black doesn't have a light square top, so
if you can get away with this.
yeah, and also knight g6 is another threat.
Ooh, very nice. And this is taking advantage of the fact that this pawn here is overloaded as well. So yeah, maybe it isn't that simple for Rishi just here, and Sean has just kept the tension with this bishop on this square, and that's the key thing, and that's why a5 has been played. Now, how does black unravel? Suppose he just goes rook d1.
Yeah.
And black's just maybe thinking, what do I do next? I mean, I want to go g5. Now, if rook d1, I want to go here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go rook g8, g4.
Yeah, that's a quite common idea. I think I've learned about how to play against g5, but it's a bit different from what I have studied.
Yeah, it's not a normal position, is it? It's a little bit different, which is why it's a little bit crazy. I mean, I still think we need a few more moves in this game to see where it's going.
Yeah.
Because it's yeah, we need to kind of see where the battle lines are being drawn, don't we? Between these two players, and this game's still got a lot of play left. I don't think maybe Sean's played maybe a super aggressive line, but he's definitely played it solidly and played sensible moves. Maybe could have got something extra out of the opening, but still posing Rishi some problems here. He goes rook d1 and then just forces Rishi to play kind of like, well, look at this kind of idea, which is quite interesting. Yeah. Okay, right. Well, let's look at a grandmaster and Keith Arkle. We have not looked at his game. They've been playing for an hour and 7 minutes, which is plenty of time for him to reach an endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Any surprise there, Lisa?
No, I no longer trust his endgame, because before I just trust his endgame, but yesterday I was like, and then.
Yeah, normally you'd be like, I mean, the thing is though, you know, if you're in Keith's situation, you think, well, what is your strongest suit? Strongest suit is the endgame. Okay, it didn't work last night, but if he does it 100 times, how many times does it work, and how many times does it not work like last night?
Oh yeah, actually, this is a question my coach before has asked me, like Karpov. Like I was like struggling to see him play chess, like because in Karpov's games or like a long game, long end game, and sometimes you kind of a gamble. You probably can't win, but just play on. And I was asking like, how can it be? And especially when you're playing a player with a rating lower than you don't want to draw, so you just want to win. But this kind of like long end just make you anxious. This is what I feel. And this is their style. They just bid for chances. Probably they can win 5 games out of 10. The other 5 for draw is still good enough.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, where you risk playing it. And I mean, it's like, you know, your actual choice. It might not work for one individual game, but maybe for over a number of games, it might be the right decision. So for example, for Keith, going into an endgame usually is a very good decision for him. And it's like if you're talking about playing 100 games where he goes into the endgame, he's maybe scoring, I mean, I don't know what the numbers are, but maybe something like against a lower rated player, probably something around 90% against a lower rated player. And you know, against a similar rated player, it's probably over 50, which is what he needs it to be. So it's probably still a good decision, and he backs himself still in the end games, which is good to see. And he's quite happy to play this. And we have Rook Bishop in 6 versus Rook Knight in 6. Has he got any advantage here with White out the opening?
Well, yeah, I don't know. But the thing is that, you know, the structure of the pawn, like f4, e3, f2, it will be super solid.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, easy.
These kind of pawns will be very solid in the center of the board. I guess he can kind of eventually create a passed pawn going this way, but I don't think it's necessary, is it? Just yet. He's going to probably play e3 to kick the bishop out of here and then improve his king. His king's going to be super safe in amongst these 3 pawns as well, isn't it? But I'm just surprised. I mean, how did we even get here? So so d4, knight f6, knight f3, 6. Okay, it was this one.
Oh, this is super drawish, I would say.
Yeah.
So I don't want to play that as black because against already players, I don't want to draw. So I used to play that for lots of games. But now, especially knight 4, or usually knight e1 is more common. But it's the same. d5 should be the move. And I think it's old theory. And just trade everything.
So many trades. It really does not fill me with any confidence. I mean, rook b1 here does not fill me with confidence. It just doesn't fill me with confidence, this opening line at all.
Yeah.
At least I can't ever see myself doing something like this. There's actually some like if we go back to like this area here, like there used to be some sort of crazy kind of stuff that you could do.
Really? Is it this position? I think.
Oh, where is it? It's very, very close. I have to kind of.
No, I think it's like this. After knight e4, go for bishop d2.
Oh, knight e4, bishop d2.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
Isn't there also queen c2?
Yeah.
You haven't quite got this move, have you?
Really? Oh, yeah, this is the move. Oh, is this
knight
now?
takes e2 check?
It can't work now, so yeah, knight e2 because of knight e2.
Knight e2 is the problem.
Yeah,
but that's a nice little trick.
Playable. And then knight take queen take.
Sorry?
But queen c2 is playable, and knight takes c3, and the queen takes, and just play in long term. And then in the future, white has a plan of playing b4, c5, something like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just taking a space as well. You know, okay, maybe not e4, but b4, c5, like you said. I know that you can swap these bishops off to play e4.
Yeah.
You have a space advantage and play from there. But he just basically said, no, I'm just going to swap off all the pieces and beat my young opponent in an endgame because I know 100 times more than what they know. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. Rook d8, a4. He's still playing quite quickly. I mean, they started with an hour 50. He's only used 20 minutes. And Tashika's not exactly played slowly. I mean, she's used 40 minutes for all of these moves, so it's been quite fast.
Yeah.
But what do you think the computer says here?
I think just completely equal.
Let's have a look. I think I agree with you. I'd be very surprised.
Oh, yeah, wow. Almost equal, right?
Almost equal. In fact, black's slightly better. So I wonder if Tashika does manage to get a result here, whether Keith will at some point start to just refrain from going into endgames too quickly. I don't know. I think it'll take quite a number of results for that to stop.
Yeah.
Because I think he just feels so at home in them. And saving his game yesterday, you could actually see that as a positive result for a game that he could have lost. Okay, well, we'll come back to this one. A lot of endgame play left, as is Keith's style. Michael Ridge versus Paul Macklin. This looks like this is some crazy Sicilian, so you're going to like this. Right here.
But this one's not that crazy because knight f6 I think it's the best move here.
Yeah, so it just transposed to the Alapin, doesn't it? And just waiting for white to take the pawn back on d4.
Wait, this one's a bit strange because usually you take the pawn on d4. Oh, that's one.
So it's basically a little bit of kind of bluffing. White's saying, I know you want me to take the pawn on d4, but I'm not going to take the pawn on d4. And black is saying, I want you to take the pawn on d4, but at some point I might take your pawn on c3, be a pawn up and just win an endgame. So how long can you leave it for? Just how long can you keep that tension? And now he finally takes on c3. Black says, I'm going to win the game. I'm going to take your pawn. I'm going to be a pawn up. I'm going to win an endgame. This happens, and then, whoa. Knight c7 check is no good.
No, king d8 and then taking knight.
No, king d8. You take the bishop.
Oh, sorry, king d7.
Yep.
King d7, yeah.
So king d7 is the one.
Mm-hmm.
You could do bishop takes bishop check there, but no, pawn takes. Can't be
Yeah.
that. And then rook c8 comes to stop knight c7 check. But then, of course, you get your pawns doubled, and then he takes this pawn back. Black's a pawn up, but kind of weaknesses here and here. And then the knight comes to e4, bishop g7, and then you see that immediately one of them becomes under attack.
Yeah.
Do we think White's got enough compensation for being a pawn down here?
Probably yes. I would say it's double pawn and super weak, and the white pieces are kind of active. At least I think white doesn't have risk to lose the game.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult for Black to actually defend not just this pawn, but this e6 square just in general. So, like, for example, if you look at something like knight d4, maybe bishop e3, and then e5 looks like the only way to...
Yeah, but e5 probably bishop take, then knight e6.
Yeah, exactly. So how does he even defend this?
How about knight d8?
Okay.
It is
you what?
a retreating knight to defend like this.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right, but maybe this bishop on g7 is actually a really good piece, just tying White down to b2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not easy at all, is it, for White to move, but also for Black to move. But I guess Black's just going to castle next, maybe move the rook, maybe play h6.
Yeah.
As well. So actually, maybe there's a bit more urgency needed than we first thought.
Yeah, like knight d8 is quite, because I didn't see this move initially.
No, I didn't either. I guess I want my pieces to go forwards, so rather than backwards. So it wasn't quite on my radar to actually look at it. But the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking, actually, like, can I get away with bishop e3?
Yeah, I'm also thinking about it, and bishop b2, rook b1, you take the b6 knight.
Yeah, well, bishop b2, rook b1, knight c4. That's probably what's being calculated at the moment, I should imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're currently here at knight fg5, and yeah, Paul's got a bit of a choice here about what to do. I mean, I guess he could he castle and just let it go and then move the rook, but it doesn't feel right to give up the bishop in this situation, does it?
Yeah.
At this stage. Okay, well, let's have a look. We'll come back to this and see what decision he makes. And this is the one with the biggest rating difference there is. So this is Adam Ashton, rated 2300, against Keaton Patel, rated 1579. And we got another Caro Khan. Seems a very popular opening, Caro. One of my friends plays the Caro, Alex Bullen. He loves it. Absolutely loves it. In
because
fact,
these days, like, a lot of openings are pretty like not working. Like, actually, e4, e6 doesn't really work well for Black. That's what they say. And the only opening which can work well is e4, e5, and e4, c6. And I would say even e4, c5 is a risk for Black.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. If people know what they're doing, then yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Caro Khan is very popular. And even c5 here is a bit risky as well, isn't it, if people want to play that?
Yeah.
But okay, moves knight d2, knight b3. And this move's aimed at just kind of preventing or trying to prevent this move, but Keaton putting his pieces on some nice squares. Not sure about this knight jumping in here now. Yeah, an a5, a6, c3. c3 needed?
Well, it's... I think it's a bit strange for Black's pieces. Usually it's not like that. It's like bishop on f5, knight on g6.
Yeah. Pretty sure I've seen Firouzja play with like this kind of setup, and sack some pieces and stuff.
Yeah, or also bishop g4 then i5. Another.
Yeah, bishop g4. Yeah, another good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Just to free up the squares for the knight would be interesting. But yeah, the knight's a bit blocked here, isn't it? And
Yeah.
plays c5, which I guess is in the spirit of what you want to play. But then g4 comes to hit it immediately. He's happy to swap it off. And we're in this position, and Adam Ashton must be thinking to himself, I've just taken a draw with a one low-rated player. Am I winning this game?
Mm. I think 1500 should be very easy to defeat, because even if they are like even if they are like not kind of underrated, I mean, still it's not gonna be super strong, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's 1500 just by themselves. You think, okay, well, we both know they're probably going to fall into some simple tactic.
Yeah.
But actually, this 1500 has just drawn and beaten a 1900, two 1900s.
But still, like 1900 is still a lot of like disparity between like 1900 and 2300. So.
Oh, I agree, but they also don't give away pieces for free, and they usually spot most tactics. So you have to be really good positionally. I don't know. For me, it just felt like here in this position, c3 was just a little slow, or maybe you could have done something different than c3 there.
c4.
Yeah, c4 was the aggressive option, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I for some reason I didn't like this for white, but maybe this is.
Yeah.
Maybe this is okay. I mean, I feel like black's kind of solved this problem of having too many pieces on the king side by swapping off this knight, which followed this route, which is quite interesting. And I don't know. Maybe he's even got some attacking intentions like g5, h5.
Mm-hmm.
Get the bishop out of the way, open up that file for the rook, and maybe be a bit more aggressive. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like this happen.
Yeah.
Just to kick the queen out.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be okay. But I mean, it's like even here, like, can he even throw c4 in? I don't know. It looks quite crazy. Is there any other key moves apart from bishop f4?
Yeah, I think bishop f4 should be the most natural move, because you want to develop bishop and try to get rid of the queen.
Yeah, bishop f4. But any other candidate moves? I mean, I assume you can't take on c5. That just looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I think black's got a decent position here myself.
Is c4 possible?
c4 now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're having fun now.
Because it's just looking interesting. That's why.
Yeah, I guess the black king is still a couple of moves away from being safe.
I mean, white's king is just more terrible.
Yeah. It's like, you could argue it doesn't actually threaten anything. Right, maybe if let's say I take.
Then bishop take.
And then I actually go bishop e4 and put my bishop back on c6.
Okay, how about f3 now and bishop c6, then d5?
Okay, and just swapping off all these things.
I don't know, but it just looks interesting, so that's why.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. I think this c4 idea is. That's why I was surprised that he went c3 before. I thought c4 straight away would have been so much more natural.
Yeah.
In those Karo positions, because even if he moves the bishop, he still can't castle because the knight hangs. And it's like this pawn's hanging, so you have to like castle this way, and this king does not feel very safe.
Yeah.
Like now bishop f4 kind of, or e3. It's not looking good at all for that black king, is it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like this c4 idea. I just whether he'll play it after playing c3 only a couple of moves ago.
Well, so bishop f4 is played.
Bishop f4 has been played, right? Okay, wow. Yeah, Adam trying to play. Maybe he's just deliberately playing a bit slower and not being as, combative and going into calculations too soon, which could
Yeah.
potentially be a mistake.
I mean, he's always like that. Last time he got preparation so well, but he just deliberately played very slow in opening. And I assumed that he played wrongly, but then I checked the opening line and I asked my coach, and he said, okay, it's a very popular new line, and then he just prepared everything, but he just played really slowly, deliberately.
Yeah, different styles have different opinions. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I think even maybe I'll see G5 might actually get the queen trapped in here, so
Yeah.
maybe he's got to be careful about that. And Bishop E7 might even get the queen trapped in as well, so he's still got to be very careful here. Black has, and maybe this queen's maybe just wants to run away. To be honest, like for example, something like Queen D8 and then play G5 H5. Could be some sort of crazy idea. Okay, well let's look at Benjamin Ridge versus Russell James. Haven't seen Benjamin Ridge. I don't think we've seen any of his games yet. Actually, we'll just have a check how many points or how Ben got his points. So he had a draw over 1900 in the first round and a win against Robert Finesse, who's over 2000s in the second round. And Ben is only rated 1770. So good tournament so far for Benjamin Ridge. And we have another 3-piece. These games kind of like, some of these games kind of look the same to you as to what we've seen in previous rounds. I don't know. It feels like the deja vu that we've got some other kind of queenless middle game-ish kind of position. As long as it's not from not similar to that first game between the two Chris's where they took so long over their moves. But I guess this is why people play the Botvinnik English, though, isn't it? So they get a lot of play. I'm meant to take back with a bishop here. G5. I'm sure this is probably some sort of theory. Although actually here, though, so Russell A. James took quite a lot of time over this move. He took 10 minutes over taking this way, and then a few more minutes over this. And subtle threat of check, winning the queen. And happy to swap queens. And King C8 is played. I just would have played this so differently myself. Bishop E6, okay. Well, let's take a minute and see if there's any plans or danger in this position.
Yeah, I would say I'll play B3 immediately, then D4, then D5.
Yeah, so you can't play D4 because the C4 pawn hangs. So after B3, I guess I probably don't want to play C5.
And then D4?
Oh, you're playing D4 anyway, even if I play C5.
Yeah, for sure, because then you have a really weak D6 pawn.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, nice. Yeah, B3 definitely looks good. And it's especially it's the follow-up D4 that it supports, isn't it? That's really good. And if that knight gets kicked out of that E5 square, the two bishops for black might not be as good as what they're meant to be.
Yeah.
In fact, is that light squared bishop trapped if you get that in?
Well, knight E4's play.
Yeah, so let's suppose we just do something silly.
Oh, yeah, it's trapped.
Let's trap the bishop in.
Yeah.
It's quite funny that the bishop's trapped in.
That's why C5 has to be played, and then D4.
Yeah, okay, so let's just have a quick look at that. So C5, and then you're playing D4 anyway.
Yeah.
And your point is that this is going to be hit twice by the knight and the rook.
Yeah.
I mean, you're straight away threatening to take here and win it. So King C7 runs into Knight B5 check. King E7. Knight D5 check, maybe.
How about knight B5 first, then knight D5?
Yep. So it's like this rook to D8 because the A7 pawn was hit. Mind you, the A7 pawn might not matter, but I guess it doesn't matter.
Wait, how about knight C7, then knight D5?
Oh, ouch. I guess I'm still surviving, but
yeah.
I guess this one back. Is it this one back though?
Probably I shouldn't have go for knight c7 because it's not so useful.
Well, I don't know if you were taking the bishop on e6 in some lines though.
Yeah, just go for knight e5 instead of knight c7.
And then just take back with a rook, double the rooks on the d file, and
For sure.
hit that weakness. Yeah, it looks like a very nice. I mean, I guess I've got time to take and then go a6. So you know, black's not completely hopeless, but opposite color bishops, so still all to play for, and maybe black can kind of dream of a b5 kind of move.
Yeah.
In this line, but yeah, this is definitely aggressive from white, though, isn't it? And you know, I agree with you. B3 here is b3. I'm playing b3 all day long because d4, d5 just wins.
Yeah.
And if it forces c5 here, even if I haven't got d4, then I can at least jump into this square or something with the knights, you know, and maybe even knight here. I don't know if I can get away with it tactically. And then jump into d4. Looks just like a really good play. The knight d4 has been played on the board by Ben, and he wants to take that bishop on e6 off. Right. I mean, what happens after just like bishop d7?
Well, I would go for knight e2 again and play e4.
Get the knight out of the way because you want to push the pawn forward. Yeah, okay, so a bit of an interesting plan here. Maybe Russell will allow that bishop to be taken. Maybe just improve his king, perhaps, might also be a sensible option. I guess maybe if he takes and he has to take this way, then these two pawns might start to become quite weak, perhaps in the long game. But yeah, knight d4 may be okay, but yeah, definitely b3 I think would be a better move. All right, well, let's have a look at Dylan Mize against Ran Song. We haven't had a look at any of Dylan's games yet.
Yeah, I know this guy very well because he also studies at UCL, the same as me.
Oh, really? What is this, Dylan?
Yeah, Dylan Mize. It's exactly him, and he's American actually.
Oh, is he?
And he also like we play a lot, like because he was the kind of president of a chess society at UCL, and we just played a lot here, and then we met for lots of times. And
so the question is, has he ever beaten you?
No.
I didn't think so.
Actually, no. Actually, I play with the others more, but not with him. But he just organized a chess society, and he was in charge of those things. But the thing is that he mainly studied arts, and he just doesn't. I mean, he's not professional in chess, but yeah, his major is art.
Well, it's true though. You know, myself and yourself. You know, obviously we study chess kind of a little bit more professionally. You're more professional than I am.
Not really. I would say not really. I'm in university. It isn't my
yeah. But you know, kind of top of the level kind of thing though. And then, but chess is a very casual kind of enjoyable thing to play, isn't it? An intellectual game that stimulates the mind. And I'm just wondering if a3 needs to be played at any point here. I don't know if it did.
I think it should be the opposite thing. It should be like black having the structure and the white having the opposite.
Yeah, but this is what you get though when people are not they don't want to spend hours and hours learning theory. They just want a simple development structure that they can play to get a good game of chess. And I hear it all the time. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. But this is what people do. And I guess he's got his pieces out, and he'll be happy that he's got his pieces out.
Yeah.
He's got his bishop back to d3. He's gone to d3, then back to e2, then back to d3 again. And knight e7, so knight e5. I think he can be very happy with his opening here, Dylan.
Well, I can't remember that he just played that like against me for once. Like this is his style of opening.
I think he'll be very happy with this opening and how it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a knight on e5, guarded by two pawns. Bishops are looking down in the right direction. You know, he's got a potential rook lift coming out somewhere. Queen can join in. Oh, and here he goes, rook f3. Now he's got a pawn wedge to really get across. Oh, he's doubled his rooks. So he didn't fancy rook here, queen here. Probably because of knight f4.
Yeah, so that's why.
Oh, does that work though? Bishop h7 check?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that... Hang on. So hang on. Rook h3,
Mm-hmm.
knight f4, bishop h7, check, king h8.
Wait, bishop somewhere?
And then king back to g8.
Yeah, came back to G8. Wow.
Oh no, you can take the rook on h3 because it's check.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So rook h3 doesn't quite work. So that's why he's gone rook af1, which is a sensible move, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a sensible move.
Yeah, I think he plays better than before because before he just blundered loads of things. But now, according to the game, he's playing super well.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what black's going to do against this.
Mm-hmm.
How does black defend this simple attack?
How about h6?
h6, f6,
H6, I mean.
h6.
Yeah. And put the bishop on e8 in the future. Just very passive.
So this bishop goes back here.
Huh?
Oh god. So maybe we just go rook here then.
Then bishop e8.
And then we go queen here.
And queen d7.
And so you're defending e6 with everything you've got, and then I go h. I can't go h4. You take it.
Yeah, just take it.
Ah. So I go knight f3.
Okay. Then can I go for f5? Wait, yeah. Then rook take.
You lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, this is why people play these lines as white, because the collie and things. The system is very easy to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And if black just plays not, I mean, black hasn't played on autopilot for this game. It has tried something with knight b4 earlier on. But this was played in the game, bishop g5, probably a good idea, trying to guard the h pawn. So well done, Rang Song. But it just makes white's job so much easier. If black just does the standard setup and see this bishop here, it's just completely cut out the game. It really needs to kind of go pawn here, queen here, and bishop here to swap it off. And when that happens, c4 will not swap it off. So white's attacking impetus is just so easy. It takes all the thought process out of chess, which I don't know about you, but it kind of removes the enjoyment of chess sometimes. But if you want to win, then this is sometimes a great thing to do. Bishop g5, though, is quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he's probably just going to park the bishop on h6. Which looks like a useful idea. I wonder what Dylan's going to do about that. Probably just take it with a rook or something.
How about rook h3 and queen h5 and then bishop c1 and knight f3?
Yeah. That looks like it's working.
Mm-hmm.
So, or maybe his idea is that after the rook here, he's got knight f4. Oh, he hasn't got knight f4. Has he got knight f4?
Now the rook can take knight, right?
Yeah, rook can take knight. Okay, and then take an h7 first, and then take the knight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rook h3, queen h5 is coming next. Bishop c1, knight f3. All of white's pieces are just looking down that area of the board. I tell you what, something really useful thing to do here sometimes is if you're feeling, am I actually under attack? Let's have a look at it from black's point of view.
It's such a struggle. Yeah.
How does it feel to look at it from black's point of view?
I feel it's a torture. And actually, I've experienced very similar things, like similar position in this British Championship. And it was feeling such a torture, and I was always losing. Finally, I just managed to draw, but I feel really bad after that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very nice at all, does it?
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Well, your university mate Dylan might be. I don't think he's played rook h3, has he?
He might be improving very fast now.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to play some games and get into it, and it's surprising how quickly you can, if you've got the right mindset, you can improve very quickly. Just watch a few videos and start to get your head into it, get your openings kind of right, and know some basic end games, and all of a sudden you're able to compete at quite a high level. Okay, right. Well, we've got the round one person, Daniel Gomez here, who drew with Keith in round one, which is and tried to win, playing against another young girl who's going to come up to eventually probably challenge you.
Is it a girl?
Sorry?
Is this a girl?
Alana Ashton is a girl, yes. It's wait. Adam Ashton's daughter.
I know. I know both the mother and the father.
Yeah.
Because the mother is a Chinese.
Yes, of course. So yeah, okay. Well, I guess this is an exciting Sicilian.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got another. Oh, it's a dragon. It looks like so. Bishop c4 here is one of the main lines, but Bishop c4.
Yeah, this is also like I used to play that, but I mean black knows then. No, it's not that tricky. I know a more tricky line.
You know a more tricky line?
Like not so. Doesn't take here. It doesn't take the d5 pawn, but queen e1.
Queen e1, a bit more tricky.
A lot of people doesn't know how to play here, but if black knows how to play, then e5 and knight takes c6, pawn takes, then e takes d5.
Okay, and are you threatening to take on e5 at the end of that? I don't think so. Oh, knight takes d5 at the end of that, is it?
Yeah, knight takes d5, and
okay.
I think it's quite equal, and I don't think white is that good.
Yeah.
But it's tricky, so.
Yeah, well, you've got to know what to do, haven't you? There's a lot of theory here, but as soon as you learn it and you know the reasons why things are played, it becomes quite interesting. But okay, knight e4 here, wanting to jump into d6, and look at the time that they both used to get here. By the way, neither of them had used a second, so they blitzed out these moves to move 14.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that anybody spent any time was when Alana played bishop e6. And then h4 from Daniel very quickly. He's not used a single second yet, really. Okay, that's an exaggeration. He used 10 seconds per move and an extra 4 seconds. And knight f4 from Alana. So it's a nearly 10-minute think there. I like that move, actually. I like the knight on this square, but maybe not here, though, actually. So I don't know where it's going. Feels like its only job is to defend against h5.
Yeah.
Queen e1, queen c7, g3, h2.
Oh, this is not the right plan for both sides, I think.
Yeah, I didn't like this knight here. It felt defensive, and then I thought he was going to go for h5 and try and checkmate.
Yeah, the thing the knight should have stayed on d5 and then pawn on h6 and then pawn on f5 and try to go.
Yeah, so like
what
h6 here? Do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Because if h5, you're going to go g5.
Actually, another idea. What if just go for f5 immediately rather than h6? Is that possible? And knight g5, bishop c8.
Oh wow, bishop c8. Yeah, I don't think I'd have allowed knight g5, but
no interesting line. Let's say bishop c4 now, and h6. Here's the interesting idea. Knight to e4.
Oh wow. Yeah, nice.
And probably bishop e6 again, and then I have no idea.
Knight d6.
Rook e7. Is the knight captured or?
Yeah, no. You're fine. You're fine there.
Fine.
Yeah, no. I mean, to be honest, that looks perfectly good. I prefer personally h6 first and then playing f5 next go. Why allow all of this? But I mean, I guess the idea is that maybe g4 comes in straight away to. I mean, it doesn't even prevent it though, does it? I mean, this move still comes in.
But the king's weaker, so
yeah. So you can chop and play knight d6 maybe or something, and take it from there. So, but she went straight for knight f4, and maybe this was just trying to, this h4 move possibly just made Alana a little bit defensive in a mindset and wanting to swap queens off, which was refused. And knight gets pushed to a really bad square. And here you kind of want to prepare this, don't you?
Yeah.
Surely that must be the plan. But then he goes rook up, rook across, which was a surprise. And now bishop's on d5. And we have this position at the end, which is not what I would have thought we'd have got to when I saw the opening.
Yeah.
Knight's on e6. So do we want to play bishop d6 or not?
Probably yes.
I mean, who's even winning this?
I prefer white because white got bishop here, and remember the s7 pawn. It's similar to one of the last games, and you just keep the bishop on c4 and then try to do something.
Just trying to hit down on this diagonal.
Yeah.
Perhaps is probably the best thing to do. Yeah, I mean, that could be quite problematic. But okay, yeah, maybe bishop d6 and then stick the bishop there. But there could be some pins on the d file, but I don't think Daniel needs to allow those to work. So just needs to be a little bit careful of that. But yeah, the light square bishop might give him an advantage. And I guess black's pawns are a little bit more spread. Maybe this bishop's not doing as much at the moment. It kind of doesn't want to swap off the dark square bishops because maybe black's king would be quite weak if that was to happen. I mean, I don't know. I quite like this knight. I think this knight's quite a bit of a fighter. So perhaps there's a lot to play for in this position.
Yeah.
And Daniel's just thinking about what to do. Okay, right. Well, 2 more games to go, and then we can cycle back around. Another end game. Adrian versus Chris. And Chris has moved a lot faster than what he did before. I thought you said that these Sicilians were meant to be exciting, and lots of end games so far.
Yeah. This one, I have a really good theory against this one, but not like this. This is not good, I would say. This is just too normal for black, and I prefer white.
Yeah, it's the standard stuff, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Just the coordination of the pieces just makes me chuckle. I'm just it feels so awkward to watch pieces be in this setup. I would never want to allow this to happen. And okay, what's going on here? End position, Adrian versus Chris.
Yeah, I would say that white is slightly better because you have the better bishop, and knight can't stay here because of c4 in the future, and the pawn structure for black is quite bad.
Yeah, so I think the reason why you say c4 in the future is that white's not threatening to go now because knight b6 would both attack the pawn and also attack the bishop. Which maybe knight b6 we got bishop a5.
Bishop b4 even. Oh,
bishop b4 checks better, yeah, because bishop a5 you can actually do knight 6 pawn and attack the rook. But it's white's go here as well, so no, it's not. It's black's go.
It's black's, yeah.
Black's go. So black's got to move anyway. Maybe considering c5 or a5 themselves. But yeah, okay. White's got an advantage because of the bishop over the knight, and the knight's not solid on this outpost. I think there's much more to say on this game now.
Just slow endgame, and white just try to win, and that's all.
Yeah, not much more there. Okay, Peter Coburn versus Paul Rains. This looks like a little bit more of an exciting King's Indian. I want to see how this developed, actually. Hang on, what? No, that's not right.
What?
Knight c6.
Wait, why not d5? Because when I see knight here, I just want to go for d5.
Yeah, I want to go for d5 as well. I don't know why d5 wasn't played. In fact, what's the most popular move here on the book? Knight f3 is the most popular move.
No, I don't.
d5 scores very badly.
Oh,
You've been told. I would play d5 though as well, so I don't understand why this scores so badly. So what is the point here? Why is this bad?
I don't know. I don't agree with the score.
So okay, so you've got to go e4 to guard the c4 pawn.
Yeah.
And the point is e6.
How about f4? Is that possible?
I mean, it's been played before.
Let's try it. Let's see what happens because I really like
Knight
it.
g6, and black has not lost a single game from this position.
E5, is it possible? Is it a trick or how about e5?
Yeah, I want to look at e5 too. And now the trick is queen h4 check.
So knight f3, what's wrong with that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with knight f3. Because you want to go knight f3 and then bishop d3, right?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, we've got bishop b4 check coming in.
Oh. Also bishop c5. Wow.
Yeah, bishop c5 too. So that's looking pretty good either way. Yeah, so okay, yeah, you've got to be careful of pushing too many pawns, but yeah, I do want to play d5 as well.
Yeah.
But okay, knight f3 was played, e6.
How about now d5?
Now d5. Well, it kind of transposes to the other line, doesn't it? Oh no, it doesn't, I guess.
No, it's not the same because knight is in the wrong square.
I guess you can maybe throw in captures, bishop check.
And knight c3.
And then knight e7 is playable.
But this doesn't look right. Wait. Is a pawn lost or?
Yeah, that looks lost to me.
Let's say e4 and bishop takes, pawn take, knight e4, queen d4. I just play positionally. I go bishop here.
You play it positionally. So yeah. e4 takes. Well, e4, I don't actually have to take on c3 yet, do I? I can do knight takes e4.
And then still queen d4.
Okay, can I do knight takes knight c3 there, or no? You'd probably just take back on the pawn on c3, actually. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe I can just play my knight back to f6, and then I guess you could maybe play d6 at some point if you really wanted to, or c4 and stuff. Yeah, so maybe that's okay. But that's the dangers, though, isn't it, of going into something? That's why a3, I'm guessing, is being played.
Yeah, for sure.
But d6 is very, very far back. g6?
How
you are
now?
They're both playing very fast here as well. If somebody played this against me, I know that I'd be taking a few minutes just to try and make sure I play the best setup against it.
Yeah.
So e4 from here.
Oh, still no d5. Ah.
Yeah, you really want d5.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's kind of transposed to a King's Indian.
Now it's d5.
Now we get d5.
Yeah.
Finally, you're happy. And knight back. And this is pure King's Indian now. I mean, f3 is a bit slow, but I guess it does defend everything. c5 locks everything up. h4, b5. It's the right spirit. Knight e2, though. I understand knight e2. Why is knight e2 being played? Why can't we just go like h5 here?
Probably b4 and
I guess the point is, so what?
Then b takes h3, then the knight is in the bad square. Is that the point?
Yeah, but I'm not bothered about the knight being there. I'm going to come and mate you down the h file at some point.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? This is the way that the position should be played. You know, bishop h6, the typical kind of stuff. And maybe you can take back with the f pawn at some point to try and defend.
Can you actually maybe, because bishop h6 can't be played because the queen is in the wrong square.
Ah! Wow.
No difference, yeah. So it can't really make me.
So I can't make you like that. So maybe I have to get the queen over to h2 perhaps, but yeah. Wow. But there's also a positional idea here of just playing like h6 and g5 and then saying that this bishop's going to be shut in on h8 until the end of time.
Really? But then
Yeah.
f5, like...
Maybe you can get it out with f6 perhaps, but
yeah.
Of course we don't have to commit to that just yet. So it's interesting, but yeah, I still feel like h5 is the right way to play though. Surprised by this capture. Knight b5, and what's going on here?
I don't like white because usually if I play like this g4, h4, I would say that c pawn is on c2. But now it was on the wrong square. It's already traded and...
Yeah, you haven't played much Queen's Gambit stuff, have you? Then?
Not at all. Not at all throughout my life, except for when I was very young. But
yeah,
almost none of them.
Yeah, I mean, I play a lot of this stuff as white, and I don't always go for the g4, h4 ideas anyway. But if I do, then it's got to be fast, and I want it to hit early. And it feels like the black's going to start building up a head of steam. So, for example, this knight jumping into this square, it is going to be quite good. The bishop's coming round, the b file's open. It looks like there's going to be far too many tactics here for our liking, to be honest. So I think black's definitely kind of won this mini opening battle here. And maybe it shows on the clock as well. Peter's down to 43 minutes. So a 20-minute lead plus for Paul playing black here. And yeah, I think I'd definitely rather be black. I also play King's Indians as well. So be very happy. I mean, especially since this queen's normally here and normally this is ready to go anyway.
Yeah.
And yet you still need a move to actually do it. Feels like white's going to have to play really well to make sure that you don't lose the game here quickly.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that h5 wasn't played beforehand. You're going to play it anyway, aren't you? So you might as well get it in and see what happens. But yeah, okay. Right, well, I'll tell you what, let's just have a quick look back onto the top few boards just to see. Whoa, game over.
Wow.
How did we miss this? What happened here? So we saw... no, we didn't see that. We saw bishop g5, queen b6, a5, queen b4, and then d6 happened.
Idea. Yeah.
And he didn't take the pawn on e5. He went bishop e6, jumped in, takes, developed a knight, brought the bishop back to hit the queen. Is the queen trapped?
Probably yes.
So the queen got trapped.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, queen takes b2. It's possible.
fb1.
Queen c2.
Bishop d3. Yeah, so I think it's trapped.
Rook e5?
Ready?
No, not really. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Take the rook with a knight, right?
Yeah.
And then queen takes bishop d2. And then I think you take on g4.
I can take loads of things, actually.
You can take loads of things, but you take on g4 though. Maybe take on a1. I don't know. It's but he goes knight f6, and well, this is always going to be over now. He's a piece up.
Yeah.
So game over.
Yeah.
Actually, was that completely trapped then here?
I think so.
Yeah, it looks trapped, doesn't it?
Bishop d3. And take the rook. Yeah, this is winning.
There's no sneaky way to win this bishop.
Not really.
No. Just nothing. Yeah, okay. So that was it. Well, that's how quick it can go wrong for you in the Benoni. White's play of the pawns were looking loose, but super aggressive, and so here the queen was trapped, and then okay, nice easy conversion for Bogdan. So he moves on to 3 out of 3 and had quite an easy win. And oh, it went into this endgame. Okay, well, it's still easy to win this, but
Yeah.
he was very comfortable with this, winning that one. So okay, well, the other players on 2 out of 2 are Mike and Edwards.
Ah, that one.
This one, the bishop did get to f4,
Wait,
but
how did knight go here? Like, I
Got-
thought knight can't really go to.
I don't know.
What happened?
So we got queen f7, which is what you suggested. Bishop
Yeah.
f4. e5 was not played, but rook e8.
Yeah.
And he jumped the bishop in. And somehow this knight... Oh, he got there via c8. So the king comes to d7 to give the knight the c8 square.
Wow.
And then to come to d6. I don't believe this. But the knight jumps into here. And then... White has still got a space advantage, but this is looking very drawish if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely.
The knight's great, but White's the only one with the pawn break. So we'll see that develop maybe in the next 10-15 minutes, see how that goes. They've both got 55 minutes left, so anything can happen. And the other players on 2 out of 2 are Sean and Rishi. And quite a lot has happened in this game since we last left it. I think we saw it at a4, a5. Knight comes back. It was c8, f4, nice and aggressive. Something which could have been played earlier. And knight g6, and this is the position that we're at the moment. Black's yet to castle, but is threatening to castle next move. And looks pretty good. Well, maybe while you're forming some thoughts on that, maybe we'll let anybody else that's watching form some thoughts. I think it's probably a good time just to have a 10-minute breather, at least if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll come back just before 1:45, a few minutes before 1:45, and then we'll have a look at this game, and then have another look at Mike versus Edward on board 2, and then roll through the rest of the games as well. Okay, right. See everybody in 10 minutes time. And we're back. I'll send out a tweet about the commentary, actually, I think. I should imagine that quite a lot of people are probably watching the World Cup, I should imagine, at the moment. Have you been following the World Cup, Lisa?
Yeah, a bit. But to be honest, for men's session, I don't like Magnus, so I prefer Karan actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because Karan is definitely a better person. That's what I feel.
Oh, a better person.
Yeah. Person.
Do I need to know how you know this, or?
I just talked to both of them, and I was feel Karan is more like he's like more honest and more kind, and he talks much better, and he also behave less aggressively when he's playing chess. So
yeah, there is a lot of passion when Magnus plays, isn't there? I think is what they use that word passion for aggression. Yeah, he does get a bit upset when he loses, doesn't he? I've not seen Fabiano get upset when he loses before.
Because he just behave really well, so
yeah, so he's definitely got the right mannerisms, hasn't he, for it? But yeah, there's lots of chess going on at the moment, isn't there, in the World Cup, and what's the next big event after this?
Does European Club Cup count for that?
Yeah, of course it will. Yeah, are you going to be playing?
Yeah, I'll play that. How about you?
No, I can't have that much time away.
Okay, it's only 7 rounds.
Yeah, so it's where is it? Where is it again? Is it in Germany?
It's Albania, I think.
Oh, Albania.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for the team that I would have to pay for, we'd have to shell out quite a lot for accommodation, I think. And so it's a lot of it's time away, and then it's accommodation, and it all starts to add up. Yeah, we don't get as much funding, I don't think, to play, so it wouldn't be quite as good for us. I'm just going to tweet out about the commentary. Hello, Caroline, and chat as well. Just so I've done that. That's UCF. UCF online. There we go. And okay, right. Well, let's have a jump back into this game. Rishi, Sean versus Rishi, and we kind of left it around this kind of f4 mark, and we had Queen b6 check, King h1, Knight g6, and I thought things were about to start to get exciting actually, and I'm quite happy that they have been, because e5 was played.
Yeah.
So Sean's definitely going for it. With this committal move, and Rishi, it's moved around him with Knight d5. What is going on here?
Now, I think White has to think a way to make progress, and it's a bit hard to come up with the idea here. So what if just Knight takes d5 and pawn takes bishop b5?
That was my first thought as well, actually.
Yeah.
It's how to follow it up after bishop d7, though.
Let's say knight b3, and then knight d4.
But I can take on f4, can't I? Or is that a threat? I don't know. We might actually see this on the board, because pawn takes looks like the only move here, and bishop b5 check after that looks like the most natural move to play. Maybe bishop back to e3, but then d4 comes.
So how about pawn takes bishop b5, bishop d7, then bishop e3?
d4?
I mean, c takes d5, bishop b5, bishop d7, and bishop e3. d4 on bishop g1? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's the way you say it with a question mark at the end as well, because I mean, I don't know if I want to go d4 as well, because maybe you're right. Maybe bishop g1 actually is quite nice and slowly just gang up on that d4 pawn in the end, because this pawn here is going to be a target, isn't it? Surely, for White to win. So maybe we don't want to advance it too far. So maybe after bishop e3, we've also got bishop c5. But I am getting very concerned here that there could be some sort of sack on f7 coming, or e6 being played.
Yeah, bishop c5, for example, then take e6.
Yeah, e6 is, in fact, maybe why not e6 straight away after bishop b5 check bishop d7?
Because f takes e6 or
And
queen takes
then
e6. Let's say
move the
queen takes
bishop.
e6.
Oh, queen takes. Okay,
Yeah.
queen takes. Okay, yeah, that's what I missed. Bishop c7. No,
Really?
I'm talking nonsense. I'm talking rubbish. Ignore me. Ignore me talking rubbish. It's terrible. Yeah, maybe just bishop e3. You're right, and d4 looks critical, but then bishop g1, like you say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't see White thinking too long over this move. Actually, bishop b5 check looks like the standard move.
Mm-hmm.
I think White's got an advantage here. I think Sean would be quite happy with how this passage of play has gone.
Yeah.
That goes all right. So we think bishop b5 check, bishop d7, and then bishop e3.
Mm-hmm.
Queen e6.
Really? Then what if bishop d4?
Bishop d4.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens if I just castle?
And knight somewhere, knight b3. And just play slowly, play positionally.
Yeah, rook e1, and then I guess move the bishop back and put the knight on this square is looks like quite a nice kind of setup for White, doesn't it? And actually, it's this pawn that's going to be weak, not necessarily this pawn. So White will be very happy with this. So we're here after c takes d5. I think that's probably going to be a continuation, at least this far. Maybe even bishop e3 is nearly forced, but I don't really know what Black's going to do against that. Maybe d4 has to be played, and he has to hope that pawn's not going to be lost. But this game could be heading towards Sean's favourite at this moment in time. There's still plenty of play left in it. These are all on 2 out of 2. Earlier we saw that Bogdan has won his game against Ethan Norris, and he's on 3 out of 3. The other people on 2 out of 2 are Mike and Edwards, and not much has changed since before the break. Which we kind of expected a lot of it, though, didn't we, really? And rook ba2. So is b5 ever going to get played?
Yeah, so White is playing for a win.
But can b5 ever be played?
Probably yes. Yeah, I think it can.
I don't know. Because as soon as b5 is being played, I kind of just want to take everything, swap off a pair of rooks. I might even be able to jam e5 in, you know.
Really? What's good about that? Let's say bishop takes e5.
And then I might just give another wave pawn and get my queen out to g4 and come and perpetual check you at some point. I feel like, though, that he does have a little bit of an opening there to use at the right moment to level the game. But yeah, White's definitely playing for the win, but I don't think he's gone enough at this stage myself. But maybe you think differently. Maybe you think White's winning here.
Hard to say. White got more chances, probably. And White is play for a win.
Yeah, and Mike will try and play this for a win. He does enjoy chess. I mean, I don't think Edward would be unhappy about that. I think he also wants to try and win too. So we've got lots of time left as well. So this one could be going the distance. We could even see that White improve his king position, which would be quite funny because he doesn't have to rush anything, does he? But okay, let's have a look at Keith versus Toshika. And hang on a minute, it was Keith's the one that's white.
Here, because I thought that if you have a pawn on f4, e3, and f2, this will be a super solid position. Now you can't even lose. But then,
yeah, well, we did see it at this point where f6 was played and then e3 got played immediately, and this was the super solid kind of setup that we were talking about. But the bishop found another outpost on b4, and black's king
Oh,
started to come forward.
e4. You don't have to go for e4, I think.
Yeah, but I guess maybe he was just a bit worried that maybe this happens, or this happens, and he's forced to play f3, or...
You don't have to go for f3. Just
No.
wait for the king to go inside and then f3. Or
Yeah, I am surprised that he gave this square away.
yeah.
Actually, that is very surprising. G1.
Mm-hmm.
And f5 is a nice move, actually.
Yeah.
Just fixing the double pawns, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Actually feels like black's the one that's pushing here.
Yeah.
Okay, so it gets rid of the double pawns.
Mm-hmm.
So does Tashika have to take this? Is this the threat?
Wait, is it Keith white? I thought Keith is black.
No, Keith's white.
Wait, because the thing is, the black is slightly better. So I was thinking, okay, maybe Keith is slightly better, and he just want to win.
Keith's white here. The endgame maestro is white. And yeah, I mean, even after the exchange of pawns, I'm still not exactly amazed by his position.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this with black to play, and Tashika is she's got 27 minutes left on the clock, which I still think is plenty of time.
Yeah.
Compared to Keith's hour, but I mean, she's very close to holding, if not even trying to push for a win somewhere along the line here.
The thing, black is already much better, if I'm right.
It's just this bishop, isn't it? It's just
anchored
by this pawn on c5, and it's controlling white's pawns that in the center, as well as the black king is. The rook can give lots of checks from the sides.
Mm-hmm.
And this rook can just give checks all along. You know, I don't know what Keith's done.
Yeah.
And this is his second white game. Weren't really too convinced with his opening in his other white game. Until his opponent went e4 and messed up that King's Indian kind of structure. But yeah, I think black's winning. Well, not winning, but
winning.
Winning is a bit of a strong term.
Well, but if Keith is white, I thought Keith was black, so he shouldn't have played opening like that, like trade everything.
No, it's shocking, isn't it? Shocking. Yeah. Okay. Well played, Tashika, so far, and obviously one to watch for the future. One to watch for you for the future as well. I'm sure that she'll be challenging for some titles coming up very soon. But yeah, Keith's definitely got his work cut out here to not only not lose the game, but try and create some winning chances against a low-rated player or somebody he'd be wanting to beat. So let's move on and see Michael Ridge versus Paul Macklin. And whoa, this game has changed from where we were. We saw it at this point here. We were wondering how black was going to defend this pawn on e6.
Mm-hmm.
Went for knight d4, bishop e3 happened as standard, and knight c2 came in. And then all hell broke loose. Knight e6, bishop b2, rook b1, knight c4.
Oh, I'm getting confused. Like
knight d2.
What is...
My head hurts.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was thinking about after knight e6. I mean,
back here.
Is it possible for black to take the rook?
Because the knight on g7 is trapped in?
Yeah.
I think the problem might be that the knight can be defended.
Oh, really?
By the bishop.
And then the a1 knight can come out, so...
Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, why not take the rook? Taking the rook looks like a sensible decision, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hang on. Hang on a minute. If we go bishop h6 now, you bring your knight out. What happens after this check?
King g8. But that's so ugly.
I mean, it's also ugly for white as well with a bishop on h6, but this might be why it's been
Yeah.
rejected, because if you're black here, you're thinking, am I getting checkmated?
But what if king f6 rather than king g8?
Yeah, maybe that's slightly better. I mean, knight e4 is another check, but it is only that, a check.
Then king e5.
Yeah, and the king's escaping, isn't it? And black's
Yeah.
just an exchange up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't understand this. Knight takes bishop feels like the only move here.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, this has to be the only move, and you're not going to take the knight on a1 and just lose the knight. Oh, hang on.
Oh,
yeah, there we go.
I just saw that.
Ah, simple tactics. And you win the exchange back.
Yeah, but
Do you have to do that, though?
you're
Can you
big.
play
Mm-hmm.
rook here?
Then bishop h6.
Oh, knight g5 check comes
And that's
with...
winning material, right? Right.
Yeah, but that's not... Knights are a bit trapped, though, aren't they?
Really?
Yeah, maybe not that, but not that much. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. Fair dues. So that's why bishop takes b2 was played. Rook a b1,
Mm-hmm.
and now we could take on e3, and then play bishop e5,
Yeah.
which looks simple to me.
Yeah.
But he chose to go this way and then allow this knight d2 move.
Oh, that is super complicated. And I would say the best way to play in this position just to calculate every variation with taking a piece and compare which one is better.
So let's do that. Right. Okay. So
So knight c takes e3, knight f4. Sorry, what is two?
knight c takes e3.
Knight to e3 and knight 4 e3 and knight to d2, and that's everything.
Yep. That is maybe even rook c6 as well. No, there's not. So knight takes knight. Let's do knight takes knight first. Knight takes knight. Rook takes bishop b2.
They haven't played.
Well, enough of that. Knight takes knight. Rook takes bishop b2.
Probably doesn't work. I mean, it's not good for black.
No, it's not good for black because you can't put the knight back to c4 because you're losing the knight on c2. So that's ruled out.
Yeah.
Knight 2 takes bishop e3.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just pawn takes knight.
Yeah.
You can't do knight takes e3 because of rook e1.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, if knight c4, we can just take it and take on bishop on b2. Knight c2 again, rook d1. And then we're threatening the bishop on b2 or the pawn on b7 when it moves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, and the other one is kind of what got played. This has been played.
Yeah.
Takes, and then he's gone bishop f6.
F6.
And this is the natural one, isn't it? Because there's none of this now.
Yeah.
I was worried here about something like rook c1 and this knight being pinned, but maybe black's just so quick to go king f7 here, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So rook takes b7?
Then put knight e3.
Yeah. So black is just going to be nicking the pawn, but also has the bishop in quite an open board as well.
Yeah.
So advantage Paul Macklin, I think, in this game. Yeah, I struggle to see how white's getting the advantage. Sorry, white's equalizing. I don't think they are. I think they're just going to be too slow.
Yeah.
So maybe you might want to try and play e4 or something. Or knight e4. Another candidate move. Yeah, I think black's just doing okay here.
Yeah.
That's going to be a pawn up, and I think heading towards a win. Down to 20 minutes on the clock, so needs to keep an eye on the time, but I think overall doing quite well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's have a quick look around. So we had this Adam Ashton game versus Keaton Patel, who 750 points lower rated than his opponent in white, and quite a few things changed. After bishop f4, we did see queen d8, and bishop g3 takes and knight takes, which is an advantage of putting the bishop on g3 because it guards e5. Bishop e7, f4. And then he went bishop h4. And then takes and queen e7. I don't know about you, I've been trying to rush this knight to this square myself. But maybe it's doing a good job on d7, actually, just because now this move gets kind of taken and queen takes e5 perhaps comes in.
Yeah, but this is strange. I mean, usually in this structure, the bishop is on c8, but now it's on h7. So seems to be better for black, right?
Yeah, I don't think you'd be too unhappy with how this has gone at all. I mean, if I was Keaton, I'd be loving this. I mean, especially because you can just very easily just put your bishop here, can't you? This is, you know, if white can't play f5 here, then this is very easy to do.
Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised that Adams allowed this to happen, actually. I felt like he could have played it, the opening with c4 much more aggressively and really put pressure on his opponent.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what he does here, actually. Where does he want this bishop? Because if he goes here, then maybe this bishop could come out to d3. C4 again. Really, this knight is too weak.
Yeah, that's different now.
Yeah, I think Keaton should be very happy with how this game has gone. And I think I saw Adam at the Crew Congress a month or so ago because Alana was playing. And he didn't play in the Open, and I think he didn't play because there weren't enough high-rated players. And this could be a reason why. You know, he's playing against somebody who's 15, 79 rated. Yeah, giving him a real good run for his money. This is maybe a good reason why not to play Weekenders if you've got a high rating. If you want to keep your rating, of course.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
Still want if you want to learn how to play good chess and keep yourself sharp, then you've got to play. But okay, well, we'll come back to this game later on. Still think a lot of things are going to happen there. Benridge versus Russell James. Russell's two bishops are looking pretty strong here.
Oh, this is a d4 one. Like the players didn't go for d4.
Yeah, early on they didn't do it, did they? Yeah, he didn't go it for here. He went knight d4. Bishop retreated. Knight back b5. And the time that he spent going knight d4, knight e2 has allowed Russell to play this b5 move.
Yeah.
Just puts white slightly on the back foot. And now when d4 comes, he's not got b3 played. So the knight can jump into this square. So it's all a knock-on effect. And when it gets taken, he goes rook c8 just to get his rook on c4. Because if b3, then we can take with a pawn and then threatening to check. So really nice play. And it just shows just how quick you need to be. You give your opponent 1 inch, and they'll take a mile, won't they? King d2, king e7, g4. Okay. Yeah, I like black's pieces here. They look like they're all over white.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, look at these two, just kind of defending pawns at the moment, waiting to be taken. King e3 has just been played. Is there a forced win here?
Really?
Oh, is it opposite coloured bishops? That's the problem.
Yeah, that's why.
That is the only issue, isn't it? The opposite
Mhm.
colour bishops as to why he doesn't want to do bishop takes knight.
Yeah.
So rook c2 first.
And still rook d2.
Mm. So how does black improve the position then at this point? King d7 is your answer.
So why king d7? Like,
I don't know. Maybe he wants to play rook e8.
and then
f5.
oh,
Or d5. Oh, f5's, yeah, better. Yeah, I like that. I like that plan, actually. I think he needs to get f5 in, though. Maybe f5 straight away. He doesn't even need rook e8.
yeah.
So f5 immediately is being threatened. Because if it ever gets taken twice, then the rook comes to e8 check, and the knight's at the end of this line. Yeah, f5 here is really strong. Imagine getting f5 in and it can't be taken. You're able to play even f4 check perhaps at some point. You might even be able to transition into that opposite colour bishop endgame and know that it's won, perhaps. Feels like it's kind of weird like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what white does here. What does white play?
So how about king d2 again?
So it just came back from d2, didn't it?
Yeah.
So it just came back from d2, and that's the best move. So nothing that we can do with a rook, like rook f1.
Yeah, I thought that, but then rook c2.
Yeah,
no,
rook c2.
not now, but because does it work? Because rook f7.
Oh, you. Oh,
Yeah, rook f1, rook c2, rook f7.
d5 check there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So how about this? f5 first, then rook c2. Wait, I don't think it can work.
Yeah, it's really very close to like something like f6 being played, isn't it? Well, I'll tell you what though, he's found something else to do. He's played rook c1.
Okay.
Doesn't look like a bad move actually.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just rook e8 here and keep the rooks on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I like rook e8.
Yeah.
Rook e8 just looks like a really good move. And then f5 just comes in, and actually this rook on the c file is just terrible. But after rook e8, rook f1, I still think it's fine. Oh, hang on, can you do bishop takes d4 then? No, no, you can't. The rook's defended.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think Ben's got good drawing chances here. He's holding on at the moment anyway. Russell's got his work cut out, especially because Ben's got an hour and 4 minutes left and Russell's only got 5 minutes left.
Oh, only 5 minutes. I didn't notice that.
5 minutes 50 at the moment and counting. So this is definitely one to click back to very, very soon. It looks like Ben's playing relatively quickly. And might be just trying to put some pressure on. Shall I have a look at how your university colleague is getting on?
Yeah, sure.
See what's happened to Dylan's attack.
I'm quite curious.
Yeah, we left it at bishop g5, I think. A4 got played because clearly you need to attack on the queen side. Queen b6, rook h3, finally. Queen b4, c3, queen back. Queen h5, good. h6. And I guess he can win a pawn on g6 if he wants to.
Yeah, but I think
the
it's
knight
not...
on d2 hangs.
Yeah.
And knight f4 happens if knight f3. So maybe bishop c1?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. So bishop c1, Is that still knight f4?
Yeah. I don't know why you needed to play a4 in this whole thing. What that was about.
Just to
It's
take
almost,
more control of
yeah.
it.
Feels like you needed to have g3 played, even though it feels weird to get it in just to shut out this f4 stuff.
But knight's hanging.
Yeah, obviously not now, but maybe he just has to go like back
Mm-hmm.
and just accept that it's just not quite working at the moment.
Still knight 4, and you'll lose your bishop.
You lose that bishop, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's just gone wrong for him. I was looking. I really liked his position here, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if the same thing happens, so rook h3 immediately.
Yeah.
h6. And then what happened in the game was something like
g3 is that possible now?
and then we just wanted bishop c1 maybe next, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the idea was queen b6, and we're just tying you down to this d4 pawn with the bishop.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's not quite as easy all of a sudden to get what you want, and maybe knight f3 here, but so the bishop just goes back.
And then bishop c1.
And then you're ready to sack.
Yeah.
And that does look pretty strong, actually, if you get that in. The pieces are a little bit tripping over one another at the moment. The knight feels like it's in the way a little bit, but it definitely looks pretty promising, doesn't it, to take on h6 and see what happens then. That might have been a better way to go about it, but okay. Well, he's gone a4 and then tried to go across, and so h6. We're in this position at the moment, and yeah, he's trying to make some sacrifices work, but just simply losing the knight doesn't feel like the sacrifices are going to work against that. So maybe just bringing the queen back and giving up the light square bishop for the knight might just have to happen. And actually, how bad it actually is this? Like knight here, rook here, knight takes, rook takes. Still a playable position, isn't it?
Yeah, but much worse for white, I would say.
Yeah, it's not as good, or nowhere near as good as what it could have been. But okay, he's still got 34 minutes left, so he's still doing all right, time-wise.
Yeah.
Very similar to his opponent, who's on 29 minutes. So plenty of play left in this game. Daniel Gomez against Alana Ashton. This is that Sicilian with the dragon with the d5.
Where's the queen? The queen
Did we have queens on?
was played. Yeah, they had the queens and they traded.
So takes right here, and then he went bishop d6, queen b6, queen c, knight d4. That's where the queens went.
Ah.
And do you think with the pressure on this f7 pawn that this bishop gives you, do you want the queens on, or are you okay for the queens to come off?
It's okay to trade a queen. Now I think is that white is winning? Wait. Because I'm just threatening c3. If knight e6, I can just take the knight. And I play a rook d7. I got a better rook.
Yep.
You got a really horrible bishop. So is that white is winning now?
Knight f3 does threaten the g5 pawn.
Yeah, I'm thinking about knight f3 or just take first knight f3. So let's say pawn take g5 and pawn take knight f3. Oh, is that bishop f7 and rook f1?
Oh, bishop f7, rook f1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a pawn now, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
That's nice, actually. So maybe that's why why Alana is thinking now, and she's probably seen this tactic because it works after knight f3 now, doesn't it? Bishop f7, rook f1. Well, hang on a minute. Is it that clear. I'm just looking at that again. Bishop f7. Can we move the king somewhere? Oh, hang on. Are we getting checkmated? We're getting checkmated.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not quite checkmate. We're giving up the bishop for it. Yeah, it's really tough. And I guess if the knight moves anywhere else, rook d7 is just looking like it's curtains, doesn't it? Wow, I tell you what, if we've seen this idea, haven't we? Putting this bishop on this light square diagonal, it's just been an absolute monster.
Yeah, that's why I always told my student, like, if you have bishop on c4, c5, and you castle short, you always think of trade the bishop or cut the bishop. Like,
yeah. I guess maybe knight e6 is having to be forced here then.
But I just think
takes rook d7, like you said. And black's pawns are a bit of a mess, aren't they? Yeah, okay, so yeah, Daniel's putting some good pressure here on Alana, and Alana's probably going to have to choose the line that gives her the most chances, and then trying to draw the game. But okay, let's move on. We've got Adrian versus Chris. I can't even remember what this game was. This was the Sicilian with the queens coming off and these really awkward pieces. And okay, we saw it here, didn't we? King e8. The knight got kicked away. The bishop became pretty good. White rooks are running rampant. These rooks have kind of like gone like this. Actually, I think it stopped on c5 as well, didn't it? And came round. And maybe both rooks are going to take the same journey. Knight f5, and then this rook's finally come across to e5, threatens to win something, but is it threatening to win anything long term here?
Not really.
King b7, b4?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. But 96?
Yeah, 96 is a problem, isn't it? I feel like the black king is just shoring up the holes in black's camp, which is this weakness and this weakness, and you can only ever attack them with your rooks. You can't attack these with your bishop, can you? So I think Chris has done a great job of getting his king all the way over there, and white's going to be hard pushed to actually create some winning chances here.
But how about this? I'm thinking about king b7 and bishop e5, then b4, because then 96 we shall take rook take b5.
So what? King b7 here?
I don't think it can work well. Let's say bishop e5.
There's also a little check here. Is that quite dangerous or not?
Probably yes.
Could be dangerous, and then maybe like check king a7, c5, and then rook b6. Could be quite nice. Bishop e5. Oh, we can't go knight d6 because of... Well, maybe we check and then take c5, rook b6. It's actually going to lead to mate, actually, isn't it? There might be some rook d1 checks that gets out of it. What does black play here? Yeah, bishop e5 is a really nice move. And the king is doing a great job of shoring up the light squared pawns. I guess the problem here is that we've got all of these dark squares all the way around this king. If you include c5 and a rook here check coming in, this could be really problematic, couldn't it, for black as well, which is quite crazy. How did black get mated so quickly here? How did that happen? It's like maybe knight d4. Does this help?
Yeah, probably.
King g2 maybe? Oh no, you're not actually threatening to go here, check. So
But you are threatening, for example, if rook d3, then knight e2. So.
yeah, so might as well get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I was thinking, can I do something? No, I can't. This bishop e5 move is so strong.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of want to do something like, if you could try and work it out, that you could try and get something like c5 in here,
Mm-hmm.
and then go rook check, rook b6. But you just haven't got time because rook b4.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very close. Well, I'll tell you what though, we've just had the move king b6 played, which is maybe a slightly better version then.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping the rook attacked.
But then I would say b4 because now knight e6 can't be played because of c5.
Yep. So I'm guessing he's probably going to play rook a7.
Really? Is that so passive?
I don't like it.
Then bishop e5. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or a number of things would look good there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe just c5 check and let the king sit on b7, and
Yeah.
and then is there some route for the king to come marching up and take a pawn on f7? That could be pretty fun to do. Yeah, I'm not so sure what happens after b4 here. This king b6, b4, knight d4, or just b5. Oh, hang on, is knight d4 then maybe there?
How about still king g2? I'm just waiting for your move.
Just pass your go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, black's in all sorts of trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could be very, very problematic, couldn't it? King b6, b4. We think just this simple kind of... Doesn't even need to rush b4 then, maybe. Whereas maybe c5, maybe the plan?
Yeah.
Could be what he's threatening, so maybe that might force White's hand, Adrian's hand, to playing b4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we'll leave that to it, and we'll see how that develops and come back to it.
Yeah, sure.
We've had a draw in board 2 before we look at the last game.
Oh,
so this did agree in a draw.
b5 plays rather than b5.
So we played a5. Okay. So, yeah, both players on 2 out of 2, so maybe a little tired, but no excuse for having a draw, is it? Is at least you wouldn't do that, would you? You play for the win.
Depends. Depends on my mood.
So a5, queen d7, and yeah, okay. This is now e5's gone. I think from black's nobody wants to play on from this position.
Yeah.
But okay, well, they're both on 2.5 out of 3, so the only players that can catch up to Bogdan are here. And oh wow, okay, well, before we come back to this, let's just check in with Peter versus Paul. This was this King's Indian that we saw.
Well, the king is... Yeah, White's king is more dangerous, I would say.
This is looks like this King's Indian. We knew that Paul was better with the King's Indian. It was a faster attack, and you can see that Black's king is quite safe. White's king is out in the open, and we're just going to try and figure out how Black can win this from here, I think.
Yeah. So knight c7, knight b5, knight e4.
The bishop on g5 is under attack.
Oh.
I mean, maybe just take on e3 first, but you might also still be getting mated down the h file, so you got to be careful.
Let's say h takes g6, then f takes, so there's no mate.
Yeah, okay, and the f3 pawn then is also weak.
Yeah, so let's say just take and knight c7.
Take, knight c7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, knight b5 strong as well, just threatening the a pawn.
Yeah.
As well as coming into d4 check.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could also take... No, you don't want to play g5. No, okay. Yeah, take, knight c7. So take here, takes back, and then knight comes to this square, and then this square, and then threatening to jump into here and jump into here.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the knight reaches that square, bring your queen and rooks round, and that white king will be mated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks pretty sensible. I mean, he's got half an hour plus left on his clock, so I'm sure he's going to find that. Let's scoot on over to Sean versus Rishi. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that equal when he takes that back? Would that be equal?
Yeah.
How did this game go? So we saw it after bishop b. Oh, bishop.
Why queen b5? Why they just like to trade a queen?
You like playing with your queen, then, I assume.
Actually, the thing is that before, like, my ending was quite good, so really good. But for one point, I just blundered a lot in the endgame, so that's why I prefer to have the queen. I just blundered everything in the endgame, so yeah.
I'll know what to do against you in the future then. Okay, yeah, I mean, queen takes. Yeah, I mean, pawn takes here seems to be a bit better with black's king being under attack. I'm a bit surprised, but maybe he's just thinking, I'll win this a5 pawn or something. But yeah, the bishop versus knight, I guess Rishi can be quite happy there.
Mm-hmm.
And he does technically win a pawn.
Yeah.
So white's a pawn up here, but the position that we saw, white was not a pawn up. And the problem was that he gets to attack the c5 pawn, and there's no way for white to defend it.
Mm-hmm.
Or no good way, shall we say. Could he have gone... Oh, no, he couldn't have gone. So h4, takes, 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 takes. And here he's having a really big think about what to do, how to reclaim that pawn on h6.
Probably white got more chances, like g takes and rook a d4. And
I think he's going to go rook h5 check here.
King g1.
And then rook takes h6.
And still rook a d4.
Oh, I see. And
then c4. Yeah.
Okay, and if g8 straight away, then...
Still rook d4. Does it work?
I might be able to go rook c8.
Oh, yeah.
And then put the rook on c5. Yeah, really interesting situation there. I mean, I think you might even consider something like g6, you know.
What?
Because you want to keep the pawns together, don't you, in the end game? So if you're able to claim the pawn back with the king,
actually,
might just be...
If g6, then let's say rook d4, rook a d4, rook c8, and then take the pawn.
You just want to swap rooks because
that can be the
distracts
problem.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's probably why he's done GH.
Mm-hmm.
Realized he couldn't get away with rook h5 check because of just the simple attack and pin it and win it. And c4 here was going to cause a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Might not even be winning, you know that, but I mean, even c5 is also a problem, though.
b4 and c6.
Yeah, that looks pretty strong, actually, doesn't it? You don't even need to win the pawn back.
Yeah.
So that's why he's gone for GH. And yeah, I guess the main line that we looked at there was, oh, you haven't got c4 straight away because of d4 in response, but if rook here and rook here, you can swap all the rooks off here, but if black takes this, then no good. If you defend the pawn, and rook here defends this one, attacks this one, you could see quite a lot of pawns come off the board here very quickly. White's got a lot of choice here, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Rook h4, rook a7, c4 straight away. I think you have to be quite brave to play c4 and allow your opponent to play d4 against you.
Yeah.
Although saying that, if you're going to win the game, c4, d4, rook d3. That's the way to play. Because you're going to have two connected pawns coming down.
How about rook c5? Just prevent you from playing b4.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll slowly play b3 to free my rook up.
And king d7, just free my king.
Rook here, rook here.
Oh,
Or does your king hit e5?
yeah, probably.
But I can maybe give some checks, perhaps.
But rook a7 is played.
Yeah, okay. Rook a7.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got an idea. So rook a7, let's say rook d7, and then c4, d4, b4, and trying to go for c5 and c6.
c5, c6. Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, I guess the point is here is that maybe black. I mean, black doesn't really want to give up that b7 pawn. Actually, that pawn on b5 is really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like. Kind of have to defend it, don't you?
Yeah.
b6.
Yeah, also possible.
Come here, then. Come here. Hello. There you go.
Wow, so cute.
Hello.
Oh,
Yes. Again. She falls asleep when she hears my voice a lot, so she's been sleeping on the side. Yeah. I don't know how black's going to defend this pawn in a nice way.
yeah.
Maybe b6 I can try?
Mm-hmm.
Are you just going to go rook b7?
For rook b7, you won't have a pain. Let's say rook a6, then rook d6, then c4, and go for c5 immediately.
So here, if I go this way,
Still c4 and then c5.
and this is coming too quickly.
Yeah.
So maybe I have to go rook b8, which feels ugly. It does not feel good. I mean, you do want your rooks behind your pawns, but not when they're just doing a defensive task like this.
Mm-hmm.
But it does hold the pawn, and maybe this is the only way that black can play.
Yeah.
It's actually not easy for you to make progress here, though, either. Like, what does white do here?
Well, I think I wouldn't trade a queen if I white. Pawn and then
Go back in time. Don't swap up your queens.
Yeah.
So therefore you can attack. I mean, maybe king g1 to stop rook f2. I mean, I'm also just thinking now, maybe is this worth a punt or not? Maybe not with the h6 pawn being on the same file as b6. So maybe back here, rook f2 perhaps. And allowing this to go and then taking this. And actually black would go a pawn up here if... I don't know how quick this pawn actually is.
I think it doesn't look right for white to win.
Yeah. Looks very drawish, doesn't it, at this position?
Yeah.
Rook a7. Okay, well, we'll come back to this one. Let's see whether Keith and Toshika have actually made any progress for either side. And Keith has won a pawn.
Really? How come?
How did this happen? I don't know how it happened. So f5, we saw it at this point around here. And the rook, bishop d4 check, we saw here. This is the position.
Yeah.
Rook f3, check. f2, takes, 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 takes. a5. Does she have to take that?
Mm.
Knight e5, knight c6 is the problem after b5? Is that a problem?
Well, I don't think so. Let's say b5, knight e5, and king f6.
Can't go king f6, knight g4.
Oh, king g5, yeah, and c4.
c4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe you can just take this and play king c2, king c3, but again, I'm with you. I don't quite believe it. Yeah, and black's going to be quite quick to take this pawn as well. So
yeah,
b5 looked okay there, but she went b takes a5, and after king here, bishop back, took the pawn, and now knight c6 came with a little bit of tempo. Hang on, what's the king and pawn ending like here?
Yeah, in this calculation, I always get confused.
Counting.
Yeah.
So so she played a6, which I think is right,
Mm-hmm.
and Keith went king d3. Obviously, he's got the chance here to go knight takes bishop.
Mm-hmm. I think black can survive.
Yeah, because black can go h6 and rather than h5.
Mm-hmm.
So knight takes pawn takes king d3, king e5, b4 maybe, and h6 just wins for black. Okay, so king here, bishop goes back, knight in, and here rather than moving the pawn forward again, she knows that the pawn will be lost, she decides to give it up to get the king across. It's like one of those things though here, like for example, why not king g5?
And then probably something like e5, e6.
No.
Yes.
You mean after king h4?
Mm-hmm. Let's say king g5, then knight takes a6, king h4, then e5.
And king takes h3, e6, bishop h4 feels very ugly.
Yeah, then knight takes c5, then I have two pass pawns.
Yeah, the h pawn's very, very slow with all the black's pieces stuck on the h file as well, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so maybe she had to go this way then. And he's swapping off this pawn as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. And then knight d3, and Keith is confident that this is won. I mean, I would not be confident of winning this. I'd give it a damn good go. I really would. Especially though that he's had to just play king c3 though. It doesn't fill me with confidence. But maybe the idea is that the king definitely deserved to be around this area, doesn't it? So he can possibly win this pawn, as well as trying to help this pawn get to the end. And I guess the knight and the pawn just...
yeah, that can be the idea. Not just stay here, and the king can't go inside. So
yeah, they're all on light squares. They cover those 4 squares there, nice barrier. So the king's got time just to do what it wants to get to a better square, either here or here, perhaps. I still think there's quite a lot of technique here in it, and maybe we're just in for a bit of a masterclass here. He's playing quite quickly as he moves his king around. And I think really Toshika's going to be wanting to scurry her king back this way as well, to make sure she doesn't lose the h-pawn at some point. But okay, we'll come back to this one because we've had a results in board 5. So Michael Ridge versus Paul Macklin. We saw rook takes b7, king f. Well, we saw here rook takes b7. We expected, and we knew that. Oh, okay. Here we thought knight takes e3. We missed this simple pin.
yeah,
Then we missed this simple pin in rook d8, and that looks pretty devastating. Oh, it was game over. Well, that was yeah, okay. This pin with rook d8, active pieces. Really playing, so nice win for Paul there. He moves to 2.5 points as well, which is good so far. Both during the first round, I believe, and then won both games today. So good comeback. And then Adam versus Keaton. Still feels like we've got another hour of play left here.
Yeah.
Finally got his pawns going forward. He swapped off those bishops, which was pretty good for him, I should imagine. Keaton's just not got any play yet.
Wait, why not knight c5? So is it b4's played? Oh.
Yeah, when was b4 played? Because I thought the knight was going to come into.
Yeah.
So takes, and then he went queen e7, and then b4 came immediately, spotting that this maneuver was probably what black wanted to do. So I guess the question is, could he have gone knight here straight away? I don't think so. I think f5 is too good.
Okay. How about f5 knight e4? And I'm not gonna castle.
Just have a sneaky look at fe6 then, just to see that if I can sack my queen.
Really? Yes.
No, I don't believe it, but
Well,
no, your king goes to e7. It's f5, knight e4. So I suppose I just go queen. Oh, queen g5 is going to be annoying, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay. Well, hang on. Okay, f5, knight e4, queen e3.
Okay, I'm gonna go for queen e7.
Okay. But then when I... Yeah, and actually I haven't got f6 because you might even just take it all off.
Yeah.
Maybe fe6 is okay, but I guess if your king is castling queenside, then maybe that's fine for you.
Yeah, that's why I would say against this pawn structure, never castle short immediately.
Yeah.
Just wait, just keep the king in the center.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, this is a good move. And what we see there is we see queen e7, a slight bit of delay, and Adam stops knight c5.
Still, I feel it shouldn't castle like king side.
Yeah, it's just kind of asking for it, isn't it? And you don't even have to rush castling queenside either. You could probably just find some other waiting moves.
Yeah.
Like bishop e4 was played in the game. Play that now. I mean, I even like bishop e4 and then even g5 actually, but maybe that's just me being a bit weird. Actually, no, I really like this g5 idea. Just trying to weaken this pawn on e5. But he does this, bishop comes in, swaps it off, and king h2, king h8, king h2, g6 is the live position on the board. Both players with, well, one was 16 minutes, one with 18 minutes left. Can white break through?
Oh, that's a hard question. Is f5 okay?
So king h3. Slowly. Like like you were saying.
Slowly, yeah, against like lower players because it's kind of struggle.
Yeah. I mean, I think Adam plays this way anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I'd also try and do the same thing. Why rush? What is the rush? Is black going to do something?
Not
really. What black can't do anything. If they play knight b8, then f5 is the move to play immediately. Yeah. There's no need to even think about it. If they move their f pawn, you're just going to take it, I assume, and then take on e6. Or if they take back with a rook, then g5 first and then take on e6.
Yeah.
So there's no threat coming your way. So if so, why rush?
Good idea.
Yeah, just keep it as it is. Rook g8. So now f5 is maybe not as good. But how does he make progress?
Queen somewhere, queen f2, and then queen d2 or queen e3, then f5. Just play slowly.
Yeah, I like the queen on d3. Although I think though the problem is if the knight's on d7, he really needs to keep an eye on the e5 pawn.
Yeah.
So I'm actually thinking maybe he might even go for actually maybe not. I mean, maybe you can swing the pieces around and maybe try something like c4 or b5 at some moment.
Oh. I'm getting confusing.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm talking in like about a decade time, like 10 years time, this might happen. We'll be having our tea by then, so won't be a problem. Queen F2 was played. The problem is whenever you play F5, I guess the risk is you can take this way and then take with the knight on E5.
Yeah.
And then try and hold on to that knight. Make sure he doesn't lose it.
How about like F5 takes, then E6?
Yeah, I like that kind of plan. But I don't think he wants to calculate. F5 takes E6. Well, the problem is you can take on G4 with check then as well.
Then king takes G4?
Oh, then, yeah, but F5 check then.
Oh, yeah.
So again, this king on H3 doesn't look like it's well placed.
Yeah.
But maybe it is guarding the H4 pawn, so it's going to free up this queen. Maybe queen E3, and then when you play F5, the H6 pawn is going to be under attack. So that might bring the black king forward to defend H6. And then it might be a case of actually even playing a move such as, no, probably not H5, but yeah, I think Keaton just has to do resolute defense and just move his piece side to side and hope that Adam doesn't time his break right. It's going to be difficult for him, though, whatever he does. Really crazy. Okay, well, that's going to be another half an hour of that game, unless something happens soon. See, Ben versus Russell, opposite color bishops. What is going on here?
This should be a draw, right?
Yeah, so
wait, is
actually,
it not?
That has to be a draw if he just goes here and then here again.
Yeah, can't make any progress, right?
Or can he?
Because I just worry about something like A6, then A4, E5, then king H5. Then the black king has nowhere to go. The king can do B8. B8 and A7, so it should be a draw. Still a draw, yeah.
Is it though? Because white got maybe like suppose this king gets to this square.
Yeah, but black would just move the king.
Yeah, B8 to A7. Yeah, okay. So this has probably been agreed a draw. Actually, he's gone down to 0 seconds. So I should imagine so. Okay. Dylan, your friend Dylan from university has got his queen down to G6.
No, I don't like this position. It's already. What is that? Like, obviously color bishops. Like, yeah.
Feels like white king could also get checkmated here if he's not careful.
Let's say queen F7, and
you have to swap.
Yeah. It should be a draw.
Should be, but I think maybe black's got some small chances there because black reaches the B file pretty quickly, don't they? And
yeah,
something's gonna happen down here, and maybe this bishop reaches a nice diagonal, maybe even onto this E4 square and outside past pawn as well. So we could see some more play in this position as they start to approach a time scramble.
Wait, bishop B5 move here.
Oh, here. Oh,
yeah.
Wow. And yeah, send up checkmate. In fact, rook F3 then?
Yeah, probably it's the only move. And
maybe bishop E2. Oh no, it attacks the bishop after rook F2 here.
Not sure. White can take the rook, right?
White can take the rook?
Uh-huh.
Oh, because E6.
Yeah.
And then just go something like H3 maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, and survives. Okay, fair enough. Well, we've got a line actually. The queens did get swapped off. Yeah, I think Ran's got an advantage here, hasn't he? It's gone a little bit wrong for Dylan. The rook that was on H3 was put there to try and checkmate black on h7 and g7, and that's clearly not happening anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe rook f3 is an attempt to try and hold it, but I think he's going to come under a lot of pressure as this pawn starts to march down, but should still technically be very difficult for black to win.
Yeah.
As well. Okay, right. Well, let's have a look at Daniel versus Alana.
What? Why it's like this? No, it's not what expected.
White was winning, weren't they? I thought we had white winning.
Probably,
so we
yeah.
had bishop c4, hg, hg. Bishop f8 was played.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Nice move, Alana. Very nice move. Because now she gets what she wants, which is the opposite color bishops. She basically made the decision that this is the best chance to draw, and a good decision it was.
Yeah. But how about this? How about
check.
Taking the d4 pawn first instead of rook f1, and oh, it's a check. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the problem is it's a check, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that check is key. And even there, you've got rook d8 possibly.
Yeah.
Which would draw. Actually, even after king b1, maybe rook d8 would also draw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, okay, fair play. Really good play. Because this is check, which is needed. Get the king out the way. Still lots of play here, though. And, you know, the king's not very good on h8, but white's pawns are not very far forward. One pawn in it, opposite color bishops. The extra rook, though, really important. Alana could be...
Actually, can I checkmate the black's king by playing something like king e2, king to h5, let's say, and king to h6, and then rook to somewhere, and rook h7?
Yeah, I think you might need a few moves for that, though.
Yeah.
Lisa, so I'm not sure that that's that's going to happen straight away. But yeah, it's an idea, and when you've got opposite color bishops and a rook on, you've got to trap your opponent's king in, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think the problem is that maybe king g7 is going to come because you can't get your rook to the seventh rank.
But then rook b6, let's say, and bishop to put the bishop on d5, and then king to and then rook b7. Does it work? Not really.
No, the king can come to f6 and then e5.
Yeah.
So it's just getting out. But she is down to only a minute left on the clock, so you only get 10-second increments. So it is even though these young players do play a lot of blitz chess, I should imagine, online, it's still really, really tough for them over the board to play with a 10-second increment. You've got to move very, very fast. I'd love a position like this, personally. This is one I'd definitely be trying to win.
Yeah.
Lots of technique involved here. It's not like the way that you say that you want your rook here, you want your bishop here, or maybe even your bishop here. Try and improve the king to like this square. Also, I think the king might also want to be here as well, by the way. Attacks d4, defends c2. The bishop can't really sit here because you've got c3.
Yeah.
Which is a problem. So if the bishop sits back to here, when you move the bishop, you can attack it with the rook. It just gets to that point where it's a little bit harder. And then you might even start getting yourself a passed c-pawn as well. So a lot going. Oh, bishop e3. What about c3 now then? c3, rook d8, bishop d5. c3, you can't take it because king takes bishop, c takes b2.
And rook
b6, a3.
Should be winning, right?
Yeah, you just got to calculate that, haven't you? c3 here. If you can't take after c3, then
so
that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, c3 here is the move I'd want to play. Been played. I think she has to take on b2.
Yeah.
So we could be seeing. She hasn't got much time left, so we're going to see a decision very quickly. We'll stay with this game.
I'd say white should win because, let's say, if pawn takes b2, then I'm trying to put that bishop on f5 and then e5, and the bishop can defend against b1.
Yeah.
And then I just go for a3 pawn, if it's possible.
So like rook b6, a3.
Or I can ignore the pawn, just king somewhere, like king to g4, for example. And there should be a win, right?
Wow, rook d8 is not the right way. I think just bishop d5 here is quite simple.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it's... Maybe g4 is a threat, but I don't think it is. Rook g6 will have that under control.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be it, I'm afraid. I think Daniel might pick up a win there.
Mm-hmm.
Although still some things to get going. But we've got a result in the next game. So Adrian has beaten Chris Vasilou. We saw this kind of idea of bishop e5, I think is what we wanted here. But c5 was... Or b4, actually. The c5 was really good, and the king didn't want to get stuck on a7. And then after rook b6, attacking c6 and a6 at the same time. It's very simple. There's one pawn up, and the king is still in a terrible situation. And he just played a3.
Wow.
And Chris Vasilou had enough at this point and thought,
Yeah.
I might as well save my energy for future games. It's only one pawn, but White's got all the time in the world to do what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice game played by Adrian, actually. Thinking about it. And we've got Peter versus Paul. What game was this?
Oh, the king's one, yeah.
Hang on a minute. So bishop g5, queen here. So we thought bishop takes bishop and then knight c7?
Yeah, that's the plan.
We went f6.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to take back with a h-pawn. And somehow White's got their pieces into a half-decent position.
With the position of knight is not right. Not on g7. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Black had this game wrapped up.
It's supposed to be on b5, d4. d7 is just doing nothing.
I mean, this pawn here is doomed, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
so maybe this is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the king's going to be so bad when he takes that pawn.
Yeah.
I think Paul will win this with the black pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks like that's wrapped up there. Okay, so we'll just do a quick whiz through. So we're looking to see whether Keith can win this against Toshika. We think he can.
Yeah,
because we're going to stop our commentary in a minute or two. Mm-hmm. I might leave this game on in the background, though, just for people to watch.
Yeah,
I think Keith's going to win this, isn't he? I should imagine. At some point, is he going to be able to just take this pawn and then come back into it?
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I don't know. We'll leave that one on. But the key one here is Sean versus Rishi. These are both players on 2 points. The winner will be playing Bogdan Lalic tomorrow, because Bogdan's the only one on 3 out of 3 at the moment. And looks like Rishi's got his rooks active. All right, now, so some final comments on this game then, Lisa, and we can bid adieu.
Should be a draw, right? If I'm right. Because I just constantly blunder in endgames these days, but I feel that it should be a draw.
Should be, but I think Black's maybe winning.
Really?
Winning a pawn.
Okay. Yeah, maybe trading the pawn, trading the rooks, and there should be a draw because the pawns are not enough.
Yeah, so I think Black's going to win a pawn, but we think it's still going to be a draw technically. But It's always technically, isn't it? Because we just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. Well, I'll leave either this one. I'll flick between these two every so often just to see what the results are for people as well. And I'll stick around just to wrap it up when we see the finish of these games. We've got so many games that are still going as well.
Oh, this one.
Adam's broken through finally as well.
But there's no Rook left.
Oh, he's given up an exchange. What? So hang on. So Black tried H5.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just thought, okay, well, I'll take that. And Rook C8, okay. Wow, and the C3 pawn is also hanging. Oh, wow, Keaton, you are...
Right, I don't like that.
Keaton is playing out of his skin right now to really make Adam work for the full point here. I think he's probably got a draw, has he, with some queen checks?
Yeah.
But I don't know if he has got a draw with queen checks, you know.
Can Black actually win?
Yeah, I mean, queen h6 check, queen h7, queen f6 check, queen g7.
Yeah.
And then the rook takes c3 check is really problematic.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So maybe Adam's overpushed that one. This is just amazing. This one's still going. I thought this was going to be a draw.
Will be a draw question, I'll say.
So Black either does this repetition, where White can't do anything, or if the White king is too close, parks the king is here and then does the bishop repetition. Actually, just king here and here, nothing can happen.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a draw. Your friend Dylan is...
It should be a draw, yeah.
Should be a draw. And Daniel Alana, she's taken on c3, so he's just calculating whether to take the bishop or not, which I think he should.
Yeah, just take it, yeah.
Take it and hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's never easy, you know, because the problem is you take, let's say you take, takes, rook here, a3. Rook here will win for Black.
But I can go for bishop, let's say bishop c4 and bishop d3.
C4, rook d1, bishop d3. G4.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. So
and the G pawn distracts something away.
Yeah.
That is no longer winning.
First hard, but bishop. Let's say, let me change an idea. Let's say I go for king f3 first. Oh, can I go for king? Yeah, here.
King f3 here.
I mean, I think I'm going to go for e5 now, probably.
Okay.
And bishop e4. Oh.
Not easy, is it?
Yeah, not easy.
Not easy at all. This is really tricky. And that's why in the game he's gone for c4 here, actually.
Yeah.
Daniel has. And, oh, hang on. What happened there?
Just take b2.
So, he just took back and then went c4. Okay, so yeah. So he's
right, because the pawns, two passed pawns are quite strong.
Yeah, the king's in the corner as well. Looks like Alana's time is very close to running out as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that's kind of a result. And Paul is still hanging on. Ish. Although that Black King's also getting checked a bit. So very, very close. But yeah, okay. Well, we'll probably wrap up around about now. I'll leave it on for people to see the games. Yeah, we'll... unfortunately, that's as much as we've got for you for this weekend, I'm afraid, Lisa. So thank you very much for coming on the commentary with me. Yeah, you've been replaced by a Grandmaster tomorrow. Peter Wells will be joining me for the commentary.
Yeah, I know Peter. I've been doing commentary with him for many times.
Yeah, so Peter's coming on, and they got Peter to come on to do some commentary. So thank you very much for coming on. Yeah, thanks very much everybody for watching. Some of you on record, some of you watch live. Click follow on the channel. This is hopefully the ECF streaming channel for the future. It won't just be me and Lisa, it'll be other people as well. So hopefully there'll be more streams coming along. yeah, thanks very much for your time, everybody. I'll take us off stream just for a little bit and leave this game on. But yeah, thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, just having a look at this game, it's really going on quite a long time. Both players in time trouble, 10-second increment. Adam Ashton, 2300, 750 points rated higher than Keaton Patel, who's rated 1579. Trying to hold on. I think maybe Keaton could have potentially was thinking about winning the game at one point with his rook. But now that second pawn is gone, looks like Adam will be trying to close this one out. Okay, so can he give up the rook for 2 pawns to draw it? So I'm just going to let you watch this one to the finish and see if Keaton can get an upset result, which would be a draw for sure. Quick recap of the other results. Bogdan won, he's on 3. The next 2 boards were both on 2 out of 2. They all drew, so there's a load of people on 2.5 points. Keith did beat Toshika. There's nothing to stop this happening next. Michael Ridge lost to Paul Macklin. That's a good result. Ben and Russell drew. Dylan and Rant drew. Daniel Gomez did beat Alana Ashton in that position. Okay, in the end, she blundered the bishop, but it was looking 1. Knew that Adrian beats Chris, and Paul Rains did finally get down to beat Peter. So I'll leave you with this game, Adam versus Keaton, and yeah, enjoy. Yeah, and it looks like that Adam has won the game. Just a bit unfortunate here that this check has led to queen, and that's game over, especially with the extra pawn to go home. So Adam moves to 2.5 out of 3 and will be probably counting his lucky stars on his way home as well. So that's the coverage done for today. And we'll be back with you at 10:30 tomorrow with myself and Peter Wells. And we'll be going on for a few hours covering round 4. And then tomorrow afternoon for the final round will be 3 till 6. But of course, we'll see if the tournament's wrapped up at the top end at that point as well. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.